And we're live. Hello and welcome to the third day of PulseConference.online. I'm your host, Maddie Allen, and I'm pleased to tell you we have an amazing lineup for today. Not only will we hear from some amazing PulseChain and Hex streamers, we'll also hear from billionaire Richard Hart, the founder of PulseChain and PulseX and Hex. And we've got some other surprises as well. So thanks everybody for being here. The turnout is already amazing. Hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to get over 10,000 subscribers here on this channel. And we're just really excited to be making history at this first annual PulseChain conference. So without any further ado,
hey Maddie.
Hey there. Hey Crypto Copy, good to see you.
You too, bro.
So you are the most followed Hex and PulseChain YouTuber after Richard Hart.
Weird. Cool.
I'm really looking forward to your 20-minute talk and really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Oh, you left me all alone. I guess I'll take these bad boys off. What's up, everybody in the chat? Hex Toys, Gold Key, Jerry O. Smith. Man, we got a lot of people here. Shout out to Maddie Allen for putting all this on. Today I made a video earlier about the narrative of Hex, but I think we can go a little bit deeper than that today. And we can talk about, the purpose and the meaning of life in general, right? If you guys can hear me, by the way, let me know. If you guys have sound issues, let me know, because I got to figure that out. But yeah, guys, what is the purpose and the meaning in life, right? It's not something we're inherently born with. Right? There's no greater purpose that you're inherently given when you're born. We have to invent it for ourselves, right? Richard had to invent it for himself, and we're all doing the same thing, kind of walking in his footsteps. Richard Hart walked so that we could all run. There's no purpose as much as you can't buy a sense of meaning at the Gucci store, right? You can't pay $1,000 for a Gucci purse. You can't buy a gram of meaning from your meaning and purpose dealer. We all have to make a decision in life about what we want to do with our time. And you can literally make any decision you want. It's really, really simple and easy to do. Do anything at all, because even if you think it's niche or silly or stupid or, this little crypto bubble that we're in, literally anything you do matters, because it's better than a life of fear and apathy. And, the Thoreau quote, right? Most men live lives of quiet desperation. If you don't have a plan, guys, you're going to be part of somebody else's plan. And so what I love about the community in general is that we are all inventing our plan together, and you're either on board with it or you're not. Either way, the train is leaving the stations. You can hop on board or you can sit by and watch as Hex takes over the world and we achieve global domination. Pretty cool, right? But I guess what I want to talk about is more of a call to action for everybody watching, right? We need to create more and we need to consume a lot less. We need to spend less time scrolling Twitter and more time making thoughtful tweets. We need to spend less time watching YouTube and more time making content, less time mindlessly browsing through TikTok, routing our minds away slowly, and more time doing silly dances that promote Hex, of course, right? And no matter what you guys do, I'm going to tell you right now, people are going to hate you no matter what, because if you try to do anything at all, it scares people, and people don't like to see others achieving their dreams, and people don't like to see Hex succeeding. And that's where a lot of the hate is going to come from. But the turntables will turn, guys, as they always do. And it's only a matter of time. It's more of a win, not an if. In my mind, it's almost an absolute certainty at this point. So people hate what they fear, what they don't understand. And it's our job as community members to help them to understand it, right? Why our education, our words, our communication through the internet and through real life, more importantly, right? Our one-to-one and one-to-many communication levels are what's going to change people's mindset about the Hex ecosystem, right? You need to find your tribe. You need to find the other people like you. And I think right here in this conference, this is a good place to get started. This is a good place to look around and see who else is really on board here, who else is really into what you're into. Because, it is niche right now, but guys, think about 5, 10, 15 years from now. We're at Bitcoin at 2.5 years old. Buying Hex right now is like buying Bitcoin at what, $10, $20, right? People thinking you're too late is an absolute joke to me. I mean, if you have the long-term vision, like I always say, it's winning the lottery in slow motion, and it's a get rich slow scheme, get rich quick. As long as you consider get rich slow as in financial freedom in a 2 to 5 year time span versus a 40-year time span like the IRS wants you to do, right? They literally have a price tag on your head calculating when you're going to die, and all this crazy stuff getting you to work a 9 to 5 job that you hate so that one day maybe you'll have enough money to, sit on the beach and drink a tequila and play golf all day until you eventually kick the bucket. We want more than that, guys. So Hex and the community wants so much more than that. And I like to say it's the cult of getting rich, right? But it's so much more than that too. It's also it's like a self-improvement club, right? My favorite part of the whole Hex narrative is the financial freedom part, okay? Giving the gift of freedom and self-ownership and the ability to live up to one's human potential. That's the greatest gift that you can possibly ever give somebody, all right? People, if you give people their life back, which I feel like we've done up to this point, chances are 99.9% of the time, people aren't total full-blown psychopaths. And what they end up doing with this newfound financial freedom is they want to pay it forward. They want to pay it forward, and they want to give back the freedom that they were given by the opportunities created by people such as Richard Hart. So one day I can see HEXicans dominating every field of study, math, engineering, science, medical research, every social media channel, Fox, CNN, every political position, and being a force for good in this world. The fun part is that, we look just like everybody else, right? Hex is what I would call a Trojan horse, not only for financial freedom, but for self-improvement. Okay, it's a sneaky type of thing. And people, when they love and have financial freedom, only when they feel that in themselves can they then spread it externally to the rest of the world. So, we have to be creative in our tactics, right? We have to do things like reality distortion and, my cheesy clickbait titles and thumbnails. These are really to punch up and punch out. And I'm just doing my best over here. Okay, I can always learn, and I'm always trying to be better. But at the end of the day, don't be afraid to punch up and out. Let's stop the inter-community circle jerk, and let's get out there and onboard new people and give them the feeling that we have, the feeling of abundance, the feeling of wealth. And let's steer people away from this scarcity mindset that's plaguing the world today as we know it. We're doing better already than any other community in crypto. And from my perspective, like Richard says this, we've already won. Social metrics, better logo, website, community, founder, better tools being built around it, 100 Hex YouTubers or more, over 50 Hex-based applications or PulseChain-centric applications, quite a few projects that I'm heavily invested in when PulseChain actually launches sooner or later. And these things all have a part to play in building our walled garden and building our perfect digital utopia where we can successfully break away from the powers that be and build our own lives the way we wanted them the whole time. So sometimes you do have to play the role of the like Richard is doing, the heyoka, right? The Native American term for the trickster. The trickster is actually a shamanic type of teacher, right? And we're all teachers that change other people's consciousness with the power of language. Okay, and we're doing it better than any other community in crypto, including Bitcoin, especially including Bitcoin. Now, everybody has their own unique role and perspective to play, and something to add, and that everybody has something to add to the greater good of the overall message, right? We, the energy we're expressing into the world is through the risk that we're taking and the strength of our conviction. And it's really hard for a lot of people to have this conviction, and they look at us and they wonder, how can you guys be so sure about Hex? But when you have the truth on your side and you have asymmetric information, we carry information that other people don't really have. Other people don't really have the knowledge that Hex is 100% immutable, no admin keys, 100% uptime, designed to replace a $7.2 trillion industry, a coin with true product market fit, that's designed to stand the test of time. And with the unstoppable community behind it, a lot of us watching probably understand this, right? But not a lot of the rest of the world really gets it. So it's our job to unlock other people so that they can see what we can see. And in the process of unlocking these people to absorb that message, we can remove their sense of their fear of scarcity and their abundance thinking and catching on to this new narrative, which is really changing the paradigm in crypto in general. So The cool thing about Hex is we're allowed to kind of play outside the box of these culturally constructive narratives. We don't have to just fit into, the powers that be or the narratives that Bitcoin, now basically co-opted by centralized entities, are wanting us to proclaim. I mean, I heard of something hilarious the other day from the Bitcoin community that it wasn't even about making money anymore, and you should just like Bitcoin because of the principle, not to make money. It's absolutely absurd to me, guys. People don't admit that new technology, better technology, replaces inferior technology, and that's what everyone is witnessing before us today. It's crazy, and people are either catching on or they're fighting and they're resisting. But all good, constructive, forward-leaning, progressive narratives and all good innovation comes from the outside and comes from the fringes, the weirdos, the freaks like you and I, everybody watching that were crazy enough to believe in Hex in the early days. And that's who you are right now. You are one of the people believing in Hex in the very, very early days. Okay. Why does Hex attract such strange and interesting people? Okay. It attracts a lot of different types of people, very successful people, people that have worked at Google, early stage startup founders, also wounded people and hurt people, and people that have overcome a lot of hardship in their life, people that are overcoming addiction or even still working through it. All this stuff, all these types of people see that we are the underdog in crypto. And I think that's a really fun team to be on. Not only is it the winning team, but it's the team with something to prove. And I think without all the haters out there, this whole thing wouldn't even be as fun, right? So let's give a shout out to the haters, a moment of silence, a quick thank you, if you will, to the people that make this all interesting, because it wouldn't be this fun of a game if we didn't have something to prove. And we do have a better product, and that certainly helps. But now, again, it's our job to tell the rest of the world about it. So it's what we strive for within ourselves, but it can only be achieved, again, by spreading our ideas throughout the rest of the world. And HEXicans are the only community honest about this. We're the only people admitting that the only thing that makes all of this work is more adoption, more users, better onboarding, better user experience. This is all that matters. Like, no shit, it's an agenda that we're pushing, okay? It's pretty obvious. And of course, we have to generate demand in order to meet increasing or stagnant supply, right? That's obvious, but Bitcoin has done that for years, and we're like basically Bitcoin on steroids as far as I'm concerned. So we're doing this better, and people act as if this is a bad thing of like, oh, of course, it requires new users to pump the price. That's everything in the world. Okay, that's your stocks, that's your real estate, that's your everything. That's your bread at the supermarket. If more people want it, it's going to cost more. Okay, and so for haters to say, oh, well, of course it depends on new people getting into the system. No shit, Sherlock. But that's what we're here to do. All right, that's what we are here to do, and it's not a bad thing. Okay, an idea is only good as the people that are communicating that idea, and it's only as strong as an idea is only as strong as its ability to survive in the battlefield of other ideas. And quite frankly, there's not much competition out there when you look at these weak-minded plebs left and right, shilling whatever they can because they're bandwagon fans and they're purely speculators, whereas the hex staking class is true believers. A true believer will always be able to outlast a speculator because we have a higher time preference. We're going to be around for longer, and we're simply going to be the last man standing at the end of this whole crypto collapse that we're witnessing right now. So crypto is basically a Colosseum, or maybe like the Parthenon. It's like if there was a central, what do you call it? A metropolis or whatever, where ideas compete. Hex would be the globalized, decentralized value transfer and the yield generating application, which nobody's been bold enough to try since Bitcoin, right? So, Hex is basically like a gamified peer group towards personal achievement. I've talked about this in a previous video, maybe a previous live stream, right? This is actually from SciVive. It's a peer group that's centered around delayed gratification and financial freedom. It's a club, basically. And what do clubs do? Clubs help hold people accountable for their behavior, positive behavior, such as a weight loss club or a fitness club, right? Well, Hex is a club that idolizes delayed gratification, which is one of the most wholesome behaviors that humans were able to invent. right? The reason that we even evolved from monkeys in the first place was that we were able to invent the idea of delayed gratification on a long-term time scale, planning, strategizing, developing ideas that we can store and gain value from later, right? And so technically, we're just basically a big club that wants everybody to win with us, okay? That's all that teams and clubs are. And in the long grand scheme of things, guys, don't worry about the bear market, okay? These things are cyclical. I really do believe that the human imagination is too big to fail, right? Short of a solar flare or a meteor hitting the earth right now, knock on wood, please God, don't strike me down. But basically, as long as the internet's alive and that people want to push technology forward into the future and that progress is a primitive human want and desire, Hex is going to be there to fill that gap, especially during the next bull market. So get your seat at the table now, because I don't think you're going to see another opportunity like this in a long, long time. Okay. And when it does come, I'll be the first to admit it, but I've got my ear to the ground and I have not seen anything even close to Hex and PulseChain and what they represent for the future. Okay. We're basically unlocking global mass adoption. The main issue with adopting a user into cryptocurrency from a technical perspective is that it takes about $50 to onboard a new user. And that's called a CPA, cost per acquisition, in traditional, Google terminology or whatever. And the cost per acquisition on Ethereum is too damn high. Okay. Too damn high. PulseChain's going to come in. PulseChain's going to fix all this. And Hex will be the shining city on the hill, the store of value that people will flock to eventually when PulseChain does launch. So just be patient, guys. Just be patient and try to arm yourself with knowledge and try to buy into the narrative, because you really can't sell anybody else until you sell yourself first. Okay. I sold myself on this idea a long time ago, and I'm committed to it, right? I'm committed to it for the next 15 years. I'll be around whether you like me or not. Just giving you a very transparent view into my ideas and my personal investments and how I got financially free and how I know a lot of other people can and are today, currently. So how much time do I have left? I got about, it's 8:20. I don't know if Maddie wants to, oh, there you are.
We are right on time. We're right on time. You crushed it. You just summarized all of the big brain points that have been made about Hex over the years.
Brain right here.
Correct. Yeah. Anybody named Matt or Maddie, big brain. So yeah, thank you so much. Where can people go to find out more about your content?
Well, check out my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. And again, if you're watching this and you're brand new to crypto and you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? He sounds like he's tripping balls. Make sure you just go to hexpassiveincome.com and take because I will walk you through it from zero to hero. I mean, I will literally start you from square one and save you years of time and thousands of dollars in mistakes. So that's all I have to shill. Thanks for having me, Maddie.
Yeah, thanks for being here. You rock.
Bye, guys.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hi, Maddie.
Hey, good to see you. You know, Abid, I was just reading this book that was in the commercial there, and it looks like you wrote the foreword for it.
Yes, I was honored that Matt Garabedian asked me to look into the book, maybe give him some tips and so on. And then when I did, he also asked me to write the foreword, and it was a pleasure of mine, of course, to do that. So I wrote that, and then we started marketing the book online, and HEXican started buying it. It was on the bestseller list. I don't know if it's today still, but I think it was a big hit, a big success for the HEXican community.
Awesome. And you and HEXican will be doing your presentation to represent Crypto Sparbuck, KSB.TV. And I'm just so happy you two are joining. You are both major community builders. And I know Richard Hart loves the things that you guys are doing. So I'll let you two take it away.
Thank you, Maddie. So our idea was to first show some pictures, and that's why I have a screen share prepared for you with all the pictures from the 5555 tour. And the pictures that I have here, they are just an assembly of all the pictures that we have. Like if you look here on the left side, I have every single city, hundreds of pictures, and you find them all on hex.photos, free for you to download. If you saw one of our events, then you're probably in one of those pictures. But let's go into the bigger screen here. So, Kalen, here our viewers see the three supercars, the R8, the Q7, and the Ford Expedition, the StickerGuy, PulseChain, and HEXican. On the next tour, the Million Pulse Tour, we want to have cars as well. Do you have a car already in mind? What do you want to get first?
Absolutely. We need to go bigger and better. So what's better than a wrapped RV, right? Major scale, can take it to tailgating events, can take it all over the country with huge logos wrapped around it. So really looking forward to that.
And like you guys see here, our cars were always wrapped with a lot of advertisement from our YouTubers, for example, from other community projects like StickerGuy and so on. And this is obviously what we would do with the R8 RV again. We would have a lot of surface to put on our all our logos and so on. So this would be great. And here you see, we have been driving around with the PulseChain car for over a year now. So I hope this will be a big success when we launch. Well, the 5555 tour was a big success in my mind. First, it started on with Patrick and me just wanted to have fun. And then later on, once we got together with the community, with Freedom TV, for example, with all the HEXican YouTubers, then it got so big. And here you see Kalen, for example, always doing the registration. Kalen, what did you learn from your job when you were in the 5555 tour, doing all the registrations, and you met all the HEXicans basically who came to every single workshop?
Yeah, I think that's where I learned how special this community is. It didn't matter what city that we came to. There were HEXicans there that were bringing merch. They were bringing business cards, stickers, magnets, whatever you can think of. HEXicans were coming and just wanting to share their experiences with Hex, how Hex had changed their lives, and just be a part of this movement. So it was absolutely wonderful. I could not have asked for a better experience as far as embracing myself into the Hex community, the way that you guys just took me on. And I'm looking forward to planning the next tour and doing it even better for PulseChain.
Exactly. So here you guys see a couple of pictures from our events. They are all ordered from the earliest ones to the later ones, and the later ones just got so big. When the Hex community came together, Medi all in, giving us shout outs, and all the other crypto YouTubers as well, just shouting out our events, and then we were able to actually not sell out because all our workshops were for free, but all the seats here, for example, were filled, and this was just an amazing event. See, Nagabo, of course, like all our HEXicans were helping us to promote this. And it was really, really big at the end. So big that we decided we cannot do it ourselves as Crypto Sparbook anymore. We need to form an LLC, the KSB TV LLC, where Kalen is our CEO. Kalen, do you want to talk about more about the LLC and what makes us able to do in America?
Sure. Really, it was just about being a formalized business. The last tour, it was so spontaneous, right? You guys were guys that had great success in Hex, wanted to travel the United States, wanted to meet HEXicans. And the more that you collaborated and talked with other HEXicans, it became a workshop tour to where, you guys are traveling around 40 different cities, almost workshops in every city. But at the same time, we couldn't put the amount of promotion that we wanted to into every event. We couldn't properly plan to have huge crowds until we got to like the end of the tour. And then it just became, that word of mouth that brought us through. And so in this next tour, we listened to Richard, number one. So that is why you hear us go by KSB.TV. He was like, Crypto Sparbook is just way too hard. You guys need to do something about that. The German community understands it completely. So we keep that as the German brand. And then here in the United States, we are KSB.TV. We have a formalized LLC, because, like Richard said, for people to value what it is that you're giving, sometimes that there needs to be a ticket involved. A lot of times with our free events, we'd have, 50, 100 people RSVP and then less show up. And so we thought that it would be important that we do have ticketed events this time around. That doesn't mean that we won't give away free tons of free tickets, because you know how these Crypto Sparkle guys are. If they have to buy the tickets themselves and give them out, that's what they'll do. But that was the main reason and the thought behind turning it into an official LLC.
And now with the LLC, like you said, we are able to sell tickets, for example, sell merchandise, and all that money that we get from sponsorship or from the merchandise, we use for the Million Pulse Tour to secure venues, to get cars, to get people helping with our cause. So everything that we are getting from money, it is used to only and specifically promote Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. So let's bring up the screen share again, because now I have the ksb.tv domain here. And here you guys see everything what we are doing. The Million Pulse Tour will not be 42 cities like the 5555 tour. It will be a little bit different. So before we go to the big event that we are planning, Kaylin, why don't you summarize the Million Pulse Tour and what we want to do different compared to the 5555 tour?
Absolutely. So first, it's important to know that you guys have probably heard us talk about the Million Pulse Tour, for months, because something that's very important to us is that we launch pretty soon after launch date. You only get one launch period, and we feel that it's really important that we onboard and that we teach people how to properly use PulseX as soon as possible. With that given, we have no idea when PulseChain is going to come out. And so we were stagnating ourselves in that we kept having to push dates back as delays were happening and whatnot. And so we really came together as a team and really decided that, our focus, although we love PulseChain and PulseX, our focus is introducing people to cryptocurrency in general, teaching people how to be safe and secure operating on a blockchain, how to remove your coins from centralized exchange or not purchase them from there and just transact in DeFi systems. And so we have decided to move the Million Pulse Tour to 2023, starting in February. Hopefully we'll have launch by then. If we don't have it by the end of the year, then of course we'll have to reevaluate. And then we will focus the rest of this year on intro to cryptocurrency events. Once the actual PulseChain tour does start in February, we're going to focus on 8 to 9 major, large, one-day conference type events where you have multiple sessions with multiple speakers, starting with topics from early intro to decentralized finance, going down into, and of course, security, going down into staking and delegating, using PulseX with yield farming and liquidity providing. We work with, if you've noticed, we'll talk about our golf tournament soon, but we work with tons of different projects that are building on PulseChain. And so if we are able to, vet these projects and they are willing to come out and dox themselves and be a part of the community and actually explain what their projects do, then we want to embrace that and we want to give them an opportunity to come and highlight their project within our conference events. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a KSB Crypto Sparkle event if we didn't do massive giveaways. So we will be giving away at least 1 million Pulse and 1 million PulseX at every event. I hear that Hex Lion wants people to come dress Hexy, so he's willing to give some Hex to the Hexiest person. I do pretty good myself, so I might have to win that one. What do you think, David?
Oh yeah, I think you would be a really good nominator for the Hexiest person. And also, since it's so good to just give Maxi away as well, there might be a Maxi giveaway in the future like this as well. So Kaylin has already showed you that we have a way different event planned for the future for the Million Pulse Tour when it comes to our educational content, because on the 5555 tour it was only Hex, and it was just really easy for HEXline and me to make our Hex presentation. But now, since we are talking about so many other different topics, we have other speakers, and here you see Motley Investor, for example. Oh no, I clicked on him. You see Cabana and Crypto and many more, because we need so many more HEXicans helping us to speak at those conferences. There are not 42 conferences anymore, but 8, like Halen said, but they are major day-long events. And that's why I want to make the first shout out here. We need HEXicans speaking on our events, and also putting up equipment, for example, or helping with advertisement and all kinds of jobs that we have to do. So if you want to help the Million Pulse Tour, just go here to more and click on contact. There you can contact Kalen directly and maybe organize already how you could help the Million Pulse Tour. Because like we said in the past, it was all Crypto Sparbuch team financing it and putting in the work. But now we want to give the torch to the American community and have it a community effort, really, the whole next Million Pulse Tour.
Yeah,
right.
And there's so many ways that you can get involved. Another aspect to this tour that's much different than the last tour is because we're only having these full-day workshop events in 8 cities, but we're still traveling. If you go on the main page, you'll see that we're still traveling to over 30 cities. That's because we will be using this tour to go and embrace colleges, to go on their college campuses, to see if we can teach seminars within classroom spaces. And if that doesn't happen, then we'll tailgate at their games, at their football events, at their basketball games, and we'll pass out business cards and stickers, and we'll make our presence known.
And before we now go to the golf tournament, I also want to show here the partnerships program, the tier system that we have figured out, where HEXicans could come and help contributing to the Million Pulse Tour. Everything else before was financed by KSB TV, but now since it got so big, we cannot do it alone anymore. So I want to go into the sponsorship tiers here, where you can help making the Million Pulse Tour possible and making it a really big success. Because I think this direct marketing tool that we have here, where we put up events where no corners come, where all kinds of different people come, is really successful in order to onboard people into Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. So this here is just a little tier system. All that money that we would get by those sponsorings, again, would be used to promote Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX in the future. And this is exactly why we do this golf tournament as well. So, Kellen, the golf tournament, whose idea was it, and how is it going with the golf tournament?
The golf tournament kind of came around in multiple parts. I've been to a lot of conferences. I have spoke with a lot of people in the community about what their experiences was like going to a conference. And being that we wanted to support PulseCon, but we originally thought that this would be a stop within our tour, that our tour would already have started. We wanted to do something, a kickoff event, to just bring more attention to Vegas, to PulseCon. We all know that PulseCon is aimed to be a large-scale event with thousands of people. And that's going to be, very wonderful. You'll be able to, get great education. But we wanted to have something a little smaller, more intimate, where you could meet who the real contributors to the chain are, who are these people that are building, to where we can embrace all the different projects and have them come out to the golf course and hang out with us and network and really see how collaborations and partnerships can be born, moving into the launch of PulseChain. We shouldn't wait until PulseChain is launched to partner and to collaborate with each other. That's something we should be actively doing now, so that when PulseChain does launch, we already have some infrastructure.
100%.
Yep.
And here, scroll down a little bit, you see all our sponsors. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, these are some of the people that have already stepped up to either host a hole or host a contest like Internet Money. They are hosting a par 3 where if you are able to hit a hole in one, you can win $20,000 cash. I'm going to go back to KG. He might be here tonight, and ask him to put up a little bit of IM with it, because this is a crypto golf tournament. So we want to give away as much crypto as we possibly can. But we also have sponsors like Power City, PulsePod, Crypto Sparble, Black Ink, the Hex ladies. If you guys have seen the work that they have been doing online to not only, provide, like, bring real awareness to Hex, but also to this golf tournament. Look at KG in the chat already putting up some money for IM. I love that. And that's just the kind of community that we have. That's really what this is about. We get to embrace people who just love golf, or people who just understand that these are networking events. And I know that there will be no pointers out there, that will, for the first time, if they win, get their winnings in crypto and have to, get a wallet and really dive into the community.
And how about all the prizes that you can win when you play golf? There are several prizes to win, right?
Absolutely. So the main thing is that the prizes are in Pulse and PulseX. I see that, Maddie is here, so I'm going to wrap it up. You can come right here to the website. It's ksb.tv/golf. We encourage you to get involved in any type of way. If you're not a golfer and you just want to come out and be a part of this event, you can get a spectator pass. But you can just scroll down real quick. You can get a spectator pass that provides you with food, drinks, and eligibility for prizes. And believe me, people, there are a lot of people giving away tons of merch out there. So you want to be able to have that spectator pass, or you can golf as an individual. If you have a PulseCon ticket, you get 50% off. If not, we still invite you to come out. Or you can also get another discount if you sign up with a whole team as a foursome. But all the information is right there on the website. And that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. And here we also have bronze sponsorship, silver sponsorship, and gold sponsorship. These are a little bit more sophisticated. But Kaylin, let's jump into the last point here. We can also take away the screen share. If the golf tournament is a success, what would that do to our budget? What could we do with this?
Absolutely. It really is the kickstart for the tour. Like I said, we want to do some educational events in 2022, focusing just on Hex, focusing just on introducing and onboarding into cryptocurrency from those early steps. And if we are successful with this golf tournament, then that could be the opening boost that we need to be able to secure venues for the rest of the year and to be able to get ready for our tour in 2023.
So, Maddie, you have met us on the 5555 tour. I hope you had as much fun as me. For me, this 5555 tour, being on tour, meeting all the HEXicans and doing all of that has transformed my life. And I want to make a shout out to every single HEXican out there, because if I can do it, you can do it too. You can be part of the Million Tour Pulse Tour. You can be figurehead if you want to. You just need to put in the effort. And for me, again, it transformed my life. I wish every HEXican to experience something like this ever once in their life. And now it's your opportunity. With the Million Pulse Tour, you can be part of our team and help where you want. So a big shout out to the Hex community. We need speakers, and we also need the funding for a tour to make it as big as possible. Thank you, Maddie, for having us. It was a lot of fun, and this event is just amazing. I love all the work that you are doing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Good night.
A wild SJ appears.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm
Good.
doing great.
Awesome. Well, we're really lucky to have you participating today, right before Richard Hart comes on in 20 minutes, because you have represented the book that he wrote. And I saw an early version of that was like 750 pages. I think this is part of what speaks to the brilliance behind Richard Hart. It's one of many measures. And I'm just so excited for you to share anything you want to about PulseChain and SciVive and anything else you want.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Maddie, and thanks for having me. I do feel super honored to be speaking right before Richard, but I don't think it's a coincidence. I definitely feel like there are a lot of synchronicities within the Hex community and the PulseChain community. It's just going to grow so much more. And because of events like this and the excitement that we all have to come together and to be on this journey together, it's, you've really started part of the wellness part of it, right? Valiant Brand as well. A couple of the early streamers that really wanted to make a point that this is not just about financial wealth. This is about a holistic wealth. And we want to ensure that we're taking care of ourselves and we're taking care of one another through this journey. And in that vein, I want to ask anyone watching who feels called to it to take just one really deep breath right now. If you can, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and put both your hands on top of your chest and kind of press down. Give yourself a little pressure right there. And we're just going to inhale as much as you can, and then exhale as deep as you can. And just how great it is to be present with all of you. I appreciate it a whole bunch. I feel like in the culture of the community, I'm someone you're not really going to find unless you've gone down the rabbit hole a little ways, because the content that I create really started with uplifting and giving a voice, literally, to SciVive. I decided that when I found this book and I wanted to know more about who Richard Hart was, hearing the audio version, it just like wasn't enough. I was like, I want to hear someone narrate this with some passion. And I figured I was going to do it and read it anyways, so I might as well record myself doing it. So that's where my content started. And that's where my, I got into Hex and learning about this before that, but that's where I really just decided to kind of go all in and start doing more content, because I was so encouraged by other streamers and other influencers. And it was so encouraging to hear so many people give such great feedback about having a voice read that information. And to one of the points I really wanted to make, and one of the reasons I'm so glad I get to be here right before Richard comes on, is that I feel as though so many people, maybe you're newer to the community, maybe this is your first time hearing about PulseChain, maybe you don't even know who Richard Hart is. What I want to say is don't judge a book by its cover in a way. I see Richard as like this, the Hex diamond, right? The Hex.com diamond, 55.55 carats, right? All these facets, right? Richard is a multifaceted human being. He is not just his clothes. He is not just his watch collection. He's not just his brain. He's not just SciVive. He's all of that. And I love that I've been able to promote and to give more of an audience, I guess, in a way, to his beliefs. I mean, I remember the first time I had the chance to, at the Hex conference in Vegas this last year, I went up and asked him a question. And I won't forget the way that he talked about how if you're a hater, so you're watching this and you are a hater, read SciVive. Yeah? If you really hate Richard, go read SciVive. Learn what you want to learn about him. Learn everything about him by reading SciVive. So people aren't as familiar with the second book that he's done, which originally and currently you can find at t.me/SciVive as the 11th chapter of SciVive. If you search Fix the World, it should come up, but you'll only see, it'll say like 11 and then SciVive. So check that out. It's called Fix the World, but we're changing the title to 15 Ways to Fix the World. And where SciVive is a book that I feel deals a lot with your personal journey through wealth and gratification in life and happiness, 15 Ways to Fix the World is really about the larger picture, right? The things that really matter, the reasons that we got into crypto in the first place, okay? Our financial system, our education system, the government, the politics, that song and dance, right? So if you want to know more about who he is and what he has to say, read his books. And I want to also say that one of the things that really resonates with me that I appreciate about him is that over and over, he said that his greatest contribution, the thing he's most proud of, is the community. And they're like any community, right? Like any family or any community, we're going to argue and we're going to have disagreements and we're going to pick on each other and call each other names because that's what families do. And I've seen it happen over and over, and I hope that it continues to be this way, that we come together and just hug it out and talk it out and be real with one another, because we're all, at the end of the day, just people. We're all just humans having this life experience together. And we've decided to kind of cohabitate in this space, right? So there cannot be someone like Marco the HEXican without someone like the Joker. There cannot be someone like Funding Jim without Rackham. There can't be someone like Pulse Visionary without someone like CZ, or Gunther without Gerardo, or Child without Crypto Heartbeat. We all need one another to kind of coexist in this ecosystem. So I want to thank you all for being this amazing community, for teaching. I want to thank Richard especially for teaching me so much and helping my brain to grow. And I know that I'm not alone in being, in that sentiment, right? Let's see. So what I'd like to do now is basically, for the next few minutes, premiere live 15 ways to fix the world. So I'm going to read a little bit of the intro, and this might take up the rest of the time. We'll see. Oh, it might not. No, it's very short. I forgot. So, and just a real quick little self-shill, I guess. I'm probably 85% done with recording it. And before I recorded it, for those of you that do look at it tonight, y'all, it's kind of, there's a lot of editing that needed to be done. So I did take the time to do that, and it's a lot more succinct now. There's 15 sections, 15 chapters. And then there's notes, there's footnotes at the end of everything. So it's hopefully, once I'm done narrating it, because that's my last pass through editing, we'll post that in SciVive. I think Richard would agree to do that. So without further ado, here is the live premiere of 15 Ways to Fix the World by Richard Hart. Introduction. You see things everywhere that can and should be better. It's a world ripe for improvement. If the world has changed, but what you're doing hasn't changed, you're messing up. The world is entirely different, more different than it's ever been, well, perhaps in the future direction. In the past, maybe the volcanoes and dinosaurs were more different than now. But the education system has not changed a bit. Neither has politics. Lots of things with lots of momentum and too many committees to pivot haven't changed much. One example is that we have improvements in voting technology, and voting hasn't changed. Apparently, there's a guidebook from the CIA on how to cripple a company you work for by bike shedding it, where you get as many people on a committee as possible and try to have them argue about the smallest of items. There's even a law named after the way committees fail called the law of triviality. Whereas the scope of a project gets larger and larger, the arguments will increasingly be about smaller and smaller parts of it because the giant numbers are so big that no one has anything to say about them. But smaller items they are used to dealing with are easier for them to get a handle on. This law was first noticed when they were analyzing how the building process went for a nuclear reactor. Not so many arguments about the reactor, lots of arguments about the color of things. And that is the introduction. I am going to read one other section because I see that we have some time. So let me scroll on down over here. This is going to be from chapter 9. And I recorded this today. And as I was reading it, I said, if I've got time, I'm going to read that right there. So give me just a minute. And I think chapter 9 is actually one of the longer chapters. There's a really great section that talks about what to do if you come into sudden wealth syndrome, which is something Maddie Allen talks about a lot, Valiant Brand talks a lot, myself. It's important to know that you have a support network and you have people that you can trust around you. So this is kind of about some larger picture stuff, which is, again, what 15 Ways to Fix the World is about. So from chapter 9, which is called Human Behavior, this is under the section called Hero Worship. Over the last 5 or 6 years, how much time have you spent with a loved one explaining a situation to you, working through that situation, finding ways to overcoming it and growing from it, and then compared that time spent listening to popular musicians and popular actors? In the world that we live in today with social media and hero worship and gossip magazines, these fake personas, invented by screenwriters, executed by professional actors through the lens of professional cinematographers, musicians, and film composers, we are more exposed to those virtual 40-foot tall people on a movie screen optimized for every single word that comes out of their mouth, as opposed to the real people in the real world who don't say optimized things and who aren't 40 feet tall and who don't have theme music that plays when they walk down the streets. Perhaps we should take advantage of some of what the arts have done to addict us and give us draw in our life and use it for ourselves. Maybe you should let your friends and loved ones in on what you're dealing with and how you might overcome it, or maybe you should pay attention to your loved ones. To tell you the truth, I don't know how your loved ones can compete with some of the stories that are out there, because damn, they are interesting. In summary, if you want to have an impact on this world and you don't have enough money, you can pretty much screw yourself over, because the world isn't paying attention to what it should be. The world is paying attention to what it wants. And on the other side of that is a well-oiled multi-billion-dollar machine built to addict, built to consume, built to give them what they want, regardless of what is good for them or not. If you want to influence your friends, your family, and yourself, then you need the money to outcompete those other experts that have taken over your consciousness. And friends, I believe that that's why we are part of this ecosystem, and we believe in Richard Hart's project, PulseChain. Thank you. Come back, Maddie. Rant done.
That was great.
Thanks.
And I know that I'm going to message StickerGuy and have him get Richard Hart in our next panel loaded in here while you and I wrap up the end of this hour. Anybody who's watching now, hit the like and subscribe button, please. Where can people find more of your content, SJ? So you can find me at awildsj on Twitter, and same on YouTube. It's YouTube.com/awildsj for the most part. Awesome.
Yeah.
And let's see, we still got to fill a little bit more time here.
Sure.
What are some other things that you think are important to share?
Oh, for PulseCon, like the coming up conference in Vegas, I think that, like, you know, like just as this conference is going on without PulseChain launching, I think it's important that we still like take the time to come together and gather and like celebrate that this is happening, because it is happening. So everyone's like, when PulseChain, and, you know, when this and that. And it's interesting to me that I've not been through a bull market yet, and this is my first bear market being invested in something, and I'm not upset about it. Like, part of me doesn't understand all the FUD. Like, why are we worried? We're staked for 15 years. Like, it's gonna be fine, y'all. Like, I mean, it's a immutable, like 100% uptime product, and Richard's now gonna make a layer 1 for it. It's just great. I'm just real excited about everything, to be honest.
And, speaking of in-person conferences, yesterday I announced that I'll be at the Longevity Summit Dublin speaking for anybody who wants to travel there to Europe to see Aubrey de Grey and a bunch of other longevity experts. We're going to be talking about all the advances that they've made in that field. And I guess people can go to the talk that I did yesterday with Aubrey de Grey to find out more about why I think Hex itself is a bit of a longevity technology. And so with that being said, I really appreciate everything that you're doing for the community. I love that you're part of the self-help movement that Richard started. And so thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Time to screw over the next guys with shorter answers because apparently we're over time.
What's up, Richard?
How are you, man?
You could take your time.
Oh, nice. All right.
So I want to more so focus on PulseChain and PulseX.
Okay.
So we understand that PulseCheck is the blockchain itself, and
PulseChain is the blockchain. Yep.
And then PulseX is the the DEX
Trading.
that's gonna run on top of PulseChain.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna ask any ETA questions because we understand how that goes. But
my answer on ETA questions is I'm waiting on devs. You're waiting on devs. We're all waiting on devs. I could give you technical stuff like we're building a denial of service bot to attack our own network to make sure that no one else can attack it. There's tons of progress on the automated market maker price fixing thing. And because the way the government does things, when I say price fixing, I mean price repairing. What else? Yeah, there's just the devs are doing dev things and we just have to wait. So
yeah, that's understandable. So
there's a lot of devs, like a lot.
I'm sure you're about what 25 million away from 1 billion being sacrificed for PulseX, give or take.
I haven't looked in a while. I don't know. It sounds right.
I think it's about 975 million if I'm correct. So the question I have is like when PulseChain actually launches and we understand it's going to be a better version and copy of Ethereum, faster, more scalable, less congestion, inexpensive. So is there any...
Well, it also doesn't blow up the environment, and it has better tokenomics, and that it does more fee burning. We burn at least 25% of the fees, but since we still have EIP 1559 in there, we burn even more. I'm not sure exactly how to measure that more because it has so many variables, but so it's at least 25%. We also solve their security model where they incentivize you to centralize because you need 32 Ethereum to be a validator. And since we support delegated staking, you don't need 32 Ethereum to be a validator. It allows people with much lower amounts of money to earn while they're holding their own keys, or to mint inflation while they're holding their own keys, which I love. I love that. I love people having the ability to control their own financial destiny with no middlemen.
And so do you think PulseX is going to be the end all be all DEX for PulseChain, or do you see any other ones being launched on top of that as things get moving?
I mean, you're very likely to see a bunch of DEXs just because people like to launch them and try and get rich doing so. So I imagine you'll see other DEXs on there, and you also will have the DEXs that are already there that come over in the fork. So like there is a Uniswap on PulseChain.
I got you.
And so it's just a question of who's building front ends for them. So if the guys if you've already, so let's say you run Uniswap, it's your company, and it is a company, by the way. So like when you go to uniswap.org, a company owns that domain and they pay for the servers that you use to access that front end. So Uniswap can, and sometimes does, launch their products on other blockchains and then adds them to their front end, So they have that option to do the same thing on PulseChain. The difference is that like PulseX is just likely to have a lot more liquidity than them because their contracts are going to get emptied of their PRC20s, which are the copies of ERC20s on the PulseChain. They're going to get emptied of those before the public has access to PulseChain, right? That's like the first transaction. One of the first transactions is the automated market maker price fixer bot goes and repairs all the prices by minting some small percent of Pulse supply to then trade it for the PRC20s and then add them as liquidity. So
essentially, would that be why PulseX would be like kind of the go-to DEX compared to other ones? Because my next question was going to be...
I think it would be very, like, after you empty out all the other DEXs of their PRC20 liquidity, you're going to get much less slippage on PulseX for all those things that got emptied because the PRC20s aren't there. they got bought, you know? So you're going to end up with PulseX being like the most liquid DEX by far on PulseChain, because it just sucked up all the Uniswap liquidity and sucked up all the Sushi Swap liquidity and sucked up a bunch of other liquidity pools. It's a good idea. I like it. Because now, so let's say, let's say some guy has a coin. He doesn't like PulseChain, or he doesn't like me, or whatever. And he goes, he gets in his MetaMask, and he's like, I'm going to pull my liquidity on PulseChain. Then, he can't. It's not his liquidity anymore. The PRC20s got bought. So it's like, it's a nice feature to make sure, like, in my opinion, one of the primary use cases for blockchains is just speculation. People want to play the game of buy the ticker and hope it works out. So I think there's a lot of that in crypto. And if all people care about is the trading and the tickers, well, we got the tickers, we got the trading, we got cheaper fees, we got higher throughput, we got faster block times, lower latency. This was all free. You're getting all these coins for free. Well, that's pretty compelling, man. And like, how do you beat that sales pitch? Hey, here's all the coins that we know you love because you hold them. Here's a copy of all of them. And you don't have any sign up. It just works. And you can trade them if you want. It's really like, where's the downside here? This sounds awesome. And people are doing it on testnet now. Like, people are trading their coins on testnet now and have been for months, and it's been working great. So I think it's a great idea.
I think it is too. I actually heard about PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex like in depth for the first time from Maddie at this year's Bitcoin conference. So I've heard about it, but they've actually dug into the details. So
I'm excited. I'm just waiting on devs, bro. Like, please.
The only question I have though, Richard, man, is like, when the other dexes come over, can't people still add liquidity to those dexes? Sure. My question is, and I know you have an answer for it, is what makes you think, and this is not like a smart aleck question, but I know you have I know you have an answer for it.
Competition is the thing.
Yeah. Correct. So what makes you think that PulseX will, suck all of the liquidity out of some of the top exchanges, as in Uniswap, Sushi Swap, and things of that nature?
I think exchanges have a first mover advantage thing, because people, when they want to do their trades, they want to get the best deal. And to get the best deal, you need the most liquidity. Because if you trade somewhere that has less liquidity, you get more slippage, which literally means a worse deal. And so by trading on the exchange that has, so for instance, PulseX has lower fees than Uniswap. It's 0.29 instead of 0.3. It has an incentive token that rewards people an extra token for being liquidity providers. Uniswap does not. I believe very strongly it will be the most liquid at the start. And then if you look historically about where liquidity has gone since, Uniswap is still more liquid than all the other dexes that came after it. All of them. And so I think that first mover advantage is very... Now, I should clarify. So Uniswap did move from V1 to V2 to V3. And so currently Uniswap V3 is more liquid than all the other dexes. But we forked V2. So the features that would be missing would be like, you can't add bid or ask only liquidity. You have to add symmetrically to both sides equally. That's pretty much the only important feature I can think of off the top of my head that a user cares about that's different between V3 and V2. All the other stuff is just edge case stuff. I don't think most people care about. It's you as a user barely see the difference between V2 and V3, but a liquidity provider sees the difference, because you can add on one side and instead of having to add to both. Yeah. So like, so the question is, what percentage of total possible liquidity is already in these automated market makers on Ethereum? And if a large portion of the possible is already there, and then that gets yoinked in launch by the PulseX system, then the question is, how is someone else going to overcome that first mover advantage? Because you can't just duct tape token on. That's what Sushi did. They like tried to attack. They tried to get Uniswap users, Uniswap liquidity providers, by just giving them an extra token, and then they can't really do that with PulseX because we already have that. So you can do it, but like it's not as compelling because we already have that. Yeah, I think it's going to be very hard for other dexes to kind of compete because of all that liquidity. But who knows? Like, if other people want to compete, so be it. But like, I mean, I hope the Uniswap guys take advantage of the fact that their contract's already launched on the system. You know, it's already there. It's a bit for bit copy. So point your front end at it, use it. Why not? It's free, you know? I hope that answers your question. But so basically for this reality to exist where someone else has a DEX that's as useful or popular or liquid as PulseX, you would need to get a lot of LPs to add liquidity. You'd have to get a lot of users to use it. I'm not exactly sure where you'd be able to shoehorn in some type of like better thing, because I don't know what you could do that they didn't already try to do to Uniswap. You know, like they've tried all the ways to attack Uniswap kind of already. So, I mean, it's a hard question, like, because you're thinking like the sky's the limit. What's all the stuff you could do to attack your own product and compete against it? And like I already made my product as good as I could. So I kind of emptied the search space of like good stuff already. So I don't have like extra good stuff waiting to say, oh, my new thing would do that. So I'm like the worst guy to ask this question because I already just put all the good stuff in.
For sure. Well, I appreciate that, Rich. I appreciate it, man.
I try, man.
But I think we've kind of given up our time, and appreciate you answering the questions.
Thank you, bro. Good question.
Awesome. And Mike, where can people follow you?
Yeah, so just like the name says, Twitter and YouTube, just at Mike the Investor, and come check me out.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Matt.
And I guess I'm representing Level 5.
Are you qualified to represent Level 5? I guess you know the stuff.
We'll see with the couple questions that I have about PulseChain, and then I know you and I will get a chance to talk later in the program when we don't have Jack Levin waiting. But just to keep things simple for now, or I guess Level 5 for now. So what I guess my question has to do with what is it about rewriting the language of PulseChain from Go eth to Go that gives certain advantages?
Well, I think people misunderstand this. So like Geth is just an Ethereum implementation written in the Go language. And there used to be two implementations that people used. One was called Parity, which then became Open Ethereum when they like abandoned it. And then the other was Geth. And so you still have this dichotomy where Geth is used for all the financial stuff, and then Parity is used for like the reporting stuff. But then because Parity is less likely to get updated quickly and more likely to fall out of consensus because the people that matter are all on Geth, like I don't believe in a multi-implementation at all. Like you're going to see the same thing happen every time someone tries to do multiple implementation. One of them is going to be better than the other. Everyone's going to use the better one. The worst one's going to fall out of consensus more often until people don't even want to use it anymore. And then everyone's going to be on one thing because it's less attack surface, less likely to fall out of sync with itself, requires less devs. Like, so it was a very stupid design decision from the Ethereum guys to ever try multiple implementations in the first place. It was stupid. Didn't work out. Look where we are now. And then, you know, so there's a new client called Aragon, which is better than Geth, but, you know, not everyone uses it yet because it needs to prove itself. You know, it needs to, and there's stuff missing from it still. Like it's a work in progress, but like in theory, when Aragon becomes better, it should be better than Geth. It's written in Rust, but that's like the language that you choose to write a thing in is not, it's not the most important part. I mean, the most important part are the design decisions you use on how you're using that language. And you can find good examples and bad examples of code in every language. So the code is not, you know, the most important part. And so like what's happening with right now in PulseChain, we have two teams. We've got one team doing their own thing. And we've got another team doing their own thing. And the two teams are kind of competing to get to production. And so the code that you see now is getting refined and attacked and audited. And then in parallel, there's a more advanced, more hardcore, higher throughput thing being worked on. And so it's like either the hardcore one gets done first and we get to run with that, or the less hardcore run that more people are working on currently gets done first and we launch that, and then we can migrate the other one if we want. But they're both like primarily the same code base. Like they're both Geth, and the difference is things like, you know, right now our validator rotation and staker payouts and delegation and all that is done in a smart contract. And so the blockchain runs out of space quicker the more people that are using it for those functions, because you have a maximum like throughput. And so if we abstract out those particular functions outside of smart contracts and stick them in the code outside the EVM, then it may make it harder to do reporting on some things because it might not plug in with like tools people are used to using, like GraphQL, but you will get higher throughput. You may have better security because you will be outside the EVM, and EVM has its own, you know, security issues. And so like, imagine me trying to explain this to a normal person or even a person that's in the blockchain. They don't know what an EVM does. They have to Google it. What's an EVM? An EVM is the Ethereum virtual machine, which is basically like a virtual computer that runs inside the node. And then all these smart contracts ask it to do stuff, and then it does the stuff. So it's that's what the EVM is. But there's other implementations of that as well. Like you don't have to use the EVM from Ethereum. Like you could use WebAssembly, WASM. Like you could do all, like there's other ways to run virtual machines that are not that particular one. So, you know, the devil's in the details, and the devil is in the small things. And so we're fighting the small things because we know the blockchain works. We've had our testnet running for months and months, and everyone's had a great time with it. We need to make sure that it works when it gets loaded up hard or when there's a directed attack at it, because I prefer to have the same uptime, 100% perfect flawless operation that Hex has had, you know, instead of going down all the time like Solana is. I'm not a fan of that. And having the luck of a bear market at the same time is awesome. Like, great. What a perfect time to be doing these optimizations is during a bear market. And so that's like, I mean, I think the dev count's at 14 now. I need to like go through and drill down so I can tell you how many guys are on WED or whatever, but this isn't a security. This is no expectation of profit from the work of others. And so like, I don't really care if you know how many dev, like I I almost don't want to tell you how many people are working on things. I mean, it feels good because like I know stuff's getting done. Like if stuff wasn't getting done, I'd be stressed out. But I feel good. They're getting stuff done. They're doing exactly what needs to be done. And they've been adding other features, like you can now fix some of the sacrifices from centralized exchanges because they like wrote some code to do an API plugin, blah blah blah. Like, but even that,
I sacrificed for freedom of speech and freedom of movement.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Yes.
So.
Correct. Freedom of speech and freedom of movement are wonderful, wonderful concepts, and I'm glad everyone supports them.
Yeah. I mean, especially with how well rewarded we've been in Hex. I'm extremely grateful to have been made a multimillionaire in such a short period of time because of the thing that you invented. And
it's pretty cool. It's a good mention.
I would love to share a little bit more later on in the program. My last question for this segment is, do we know how much bigger this, because I really think there's a lot of game theory here to giving people free money, and that will create really hardcore supporters even more than we already have. Do we know how much bigger this airdrop is than other airdrops that have occurred?
Well, this would have to be like, this is the largest airdrop that's ever happened. So we saw like, Uniswap was given for free to people that used it or their LPs. Maybe that was like, 100,000 people, maybe it was 200, maybe it was 300, but it wasn't millions. And so if Ethereum has millions of users, those millions of users are getting free coins. It's the maximum. You could not possibly airdrop more Ethereum users because we're doing all of them, like maybe there'll be like 1 or 2 addresses that don't get it, or maybe 10 or 100 or something, but it's like 99.999% airdrop. So yeah, it's anyone that ever used anything, like it's, you have any coin. There you go. Bit for bit copy. Enjoy. Just works. Change the setting in MetaMask. Click this button and then click OK in MetaMask, and now you're on the new network. It's that easy. Click a button and click OK. You don't have to type anything. So yeah, like it should be a huge deal. It really should be a huge deal.
Awesome. Well, I think the crowd has been loving this segment. You did an awesome job. And thanks to all the participants as well. You all rock. The next segment here is going to be a half-an-hour interview between Richard and Jack Levin. Nice. So let me bring him up, and I'll do a little introduction. Welcome, Jack.
Hey, guys. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Now, both of you are really impressive people. You spoke just briefly in the Twitter Spaces, but I don't think that really captured the things I've heard you say, Jack, about how much you respect Richard. And I think you two have a lot in common. You both bought Bitcoin below $30, and you've both created important things in the world. You both also are interested in longevity research. And so I'm just super excited to hear your discussion today. Thank you.
Awesome.
I think I'd like to hear more about you. I mean, your Twitter profile is like number 27 Googler.
Number 21, actually, but
21. Nice.
Doesn't really matter. I think
it's flexible, isn't it?
It's flexible.
Flexible and like it's braggable. You got to come on, man. It's in your profile. It's obviously good for bragging.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I think the points that at the time none of the Googlers knew they were at Google. So
right.
That's the thing. Right. I mean, it was just another startup, search engine number 7, competing in a crowded space, and the thought was that we're not really going to make any money because we just don't know how.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me. Brag, bro, brag. What else do you got? You worked at Google early. But then I saw you also built like data centers.
Yeah. So actually, before Google, I just saw Mark Andreessen on Joe Rogan, and Mark Andreessen and I were like worked across like literally a driveway from each other.
Right.
So I actually back in the day in 1992, 93, actually, I think I got fired for using Netscape. So I installed Netscape on one of those Sun Microsystem stations. And the system administrator at the time really did not want me to use anything but Mosaic. And Mosaic was the first browser. And so when I launched Netscape, he's like, dude, you're running unauthorized binaries. That's dangerous, you know. And then I'm like, that's ridiculous. This thing is there, you know, people are using it, all the universities are using it. I don't know why I can't, you know, it loads, you know, faster, you know, this and that. So.
Nice, dude.
And he's like, no, you can't do it. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'll still use it. So I used it, and then the next week I was like fired because of that.
Yeah. Well, it seems like not the best firing there. So like,
yeah, so
the reason I want you to flex is because, you know, for people that don't understand, I know so many wildly smart people in Hex and PulseChain. And I think that a lot of people that aren't in our communities don't understand how darn smart we are. And then if you like listen to the conversations that we have amongst ourselves or watch our live streams and see what we talk about, and then you go into other communities and listen to what's going on there, we're way smarter. Like there's no question. So like I just, you know, I think that when you have these people that have, you know, are either billionaires or geniuses or have great track records that say, I love Hex or I love PulseChain or Richard's great or any of that stuff, it helps these guys that don't know any better understand that we are good. You know, like they love their proof by popularity or proof by authority. And so if that's how they operate their feels, let's have some of that, you know? Like look, I went on Tony Robbins' website and he's like got testimonials from like actor, politician, and then like it says actor underneath. Like, you know, like you got to name drop or people aren't influenced properly, you know?
Yeah, well, I think the Pareto distribution or Pareto rule kind of applies, you know, except in crypto space, it's not 20/80 rule, it's more like 5/95.
Right.
So where the 5% of the causes end up with 95% of results.
Right.
So that's the thing. And blockchain is so complicated, right? People really don't understand what they're getting into. And a lot of people are getting sucked in by centralized exchanges. Everything's gamified. Everything is a casino. And anytime there's someone out there that's actually, the way that you would say, flexing the intellect and the truth behind the blockchain and what it represents, a lot of people feel threatened because they're obviously there for the money, but they don't want to admit that they're there for the money. And when somebody else is out there basically saying, look, this thing could be better, now they're almost forced to attack it to not feel that their importance is taken away from
them. So I mean, why did you choose? I mean, I think you like Hex. Is that accurate?
I think you might be right.
Okay. So why do you like Hex? I mean, when someone, I know that you've had this question from other people, like, oh, Hex, the scam, you like the scam? You're like, what do you answer?
Well, there's two answers, right? So, Richard, you kind of look like a scammer, but
I've transcended that. I don't think there's any scammer that looks like me. I'm sorry, really. I'm my own thing.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's this concept called hiding in the light, right? When you hide in the light, you're very visible for what you want people to think, except that you're not. So this is the opposite. Maybe, but here's the thing: the real scammers don't look like scammers. Right?
Well, this is like Sun Tzu, whatever. He used to have less followers than me. He ended up with more followers than me. Got everyone destroyed. In comes the next guy, who's another guy that no one had ever heard of, Raoul Pal. Who's that? I never heard of him in 2017. I never heard of him in 2018. Here he is. Gets irresponsibly long Ethereum at the top. I said, that's very irresponsible. His quote, irresponsibly long, largest position he's ever had in his life. Hey man, just checking in. I'm the guy that tried to save you. I called the top. You bought the top. How'd those options work out? They expired worthless. You lost the largest trade of your life. You should have listened to me, dude. But you thought you were smart. And then we just see this over and over and over again. Like, at what point? It just makes me so like. So, for instance, the Plan B guy, he's got 1.2 million followers, or the 100 trillion USD guy, whatever. He has got 1.2 million followers. Got them all wrecked. Now he shows referral links and trading signals to get them wrecked more.
Yeah.
Why am I not worshipped in this industry? Basically, like, people should kneel and be like, "Oh my God, this Richard keeps handing out free coins, free books, free everything." Tells everyone, like,
Richard,
how can I win harder, dude? Like, how can I win harder?
It's too early. It's too early for that. We're not quite at the bottom yet. So
that'll be the ticket, the bottom. When we hit 11K, then people will be like, that Richard.
Yeah. What is it? 11 and pray? Is that the saying?
11K and pray. You need the K to make a rhyme. 11K and pray. Yeah.
So to answer your original question, the second thing, I mean, I love the scam look. I think it's really cool. But this, the second thing is Hex is about education, right? And as I mentioned on my other streams with your community, is that I have never seen more education in the longest form possible. I have watched maybe a 6-hour video with you, and I was like driving to Tahoe or something like that. And I had it in the background, and you were talking and talking and talking. I'm like, this guy, he needs to get some sleep, right? But 6 hours, they were good. They were hours well spent. So nice, education is part of the Hex ethos. It totally vibes with me. I think it's not just about saving people, but it's also educational in a sense what blockchain really is, right? And we talk about things like self-custody. So self-custody seems like 2 words, but it's a huge, huge area. Like what the hell does it mean, self-custody, right? Not your keys, not your coins. Yeah, that's one of them. Moving between countries and carrying your wallet in your head or wherever your passkeys in your head or somewhere safe and not needing to declare your assets is totally freedom giving, right? So that's self-custody, right?
The truth, not having your currency go to zero is pretty freeing as well. I mean, like, imagine you're an European, okay? Over the last 15 years, the euro has dropped 35, 36%. So now Americans get a 50% bonus buying up your land. So if you held dollars instead of euros over the last 15 years, you got a 50% extra free money to buy up their stuff. So if you're in Europe as an American, you're like, yeah, boy, everything here is on sale for me. Not for you guys.
Yeah, I think I tweeted the meme with Americans thinking about euro dropping. I'm gonna buy an Eiffel Tower. That was a cool one.
That's a good one, man. And like, I hope that thing goes. I hope the dollar murders the euro so bad because I just happen to like Europe. So, hey,
yeah,
come on, dollar, go, little buddy. And here's the funny part:
yes.
It's not that the dollar's going up; the dollar's still trash and going down like crazy. It's just it's going down like crazy, less fast than the euro.
yeah, than the rest of the things. So, Richard, how we're gonna help the world to be better?
Well, I mean, my biggest problem is capital deployment, probably, and just getting people to do what they can do, or even say they can do. So, like, I would like to not die, but I'm on my way to dying in 20 years, 40 years, 60 years. I mean, I'm 42. I don't seem like the kind of body type that's going to 100.
I'm
So
48.
maybe oh, you look way better than me at 48. Nice, dude.
You know what this is?
Bull
Apple
cum?
cider vinegar. It happens to be the best natural AMPK activator. I DM'd you the link. You can read about
Okay.
it.
Right.
What it does, it changes your cellular energy balance and activates cellular repair, as well as the basically extraction of amino acids from your cells. And it destroys the cells that are malfunctioning by implementing this process called autophagy.
Okay. Nice.
So
well, I'll check it out.
Good stuff.
So apple cider vinegar.
Yep.
I use that to bait fruit flies. If you pour apple cider vinegar in a cup and you put a piece of saran wrap over it and you poke a hole in it, and then you pour some soap and you mix it, when the fruit flies go in, they land on the water, and then because the soap ruins the water tension, they can't stand on it. They fall in and drown. And then if some of them are watching their buddies drown and they're not cool with it and they want to fly back out, they're just too dumb to get back out the hole. So
right.
So
you have like a problem with the flies, right?
Well, just occasionally, like, just depends on how much like food you're eating, and because like fruit flies don't come in all stuff; they just come in some stuff. So it depends on what you're eating and how often you're taking out your garbage. But I think having a fruit fly solution is awesome, because if you try and put up like mosquito strips fly strips, they don't do anything against fruit flies. They don't do anything against mosquitoes. You just end up with a stupid looking bunch of fly strips everywhere.
Yeah, and you can get into it yourself and
it sucks.
Get stuck yourself.
It sucks.
Yeah. So anyway, you should try drinking it. I mean, don't drink it.
I won't
make
try.
Sure
I won't use the one with the flies in it, but I'll try some of the.
No. Like one teaspoon and some good water, filtered water.
I mean, I've heard this is weight loss as well. I've heard it.
Well, so weight loss, basically what it does, it makes your liver not to secrete the glycogen, not to make glucose for your blood, and basically your body's like, wait a second, I'm not getting enough glycogen. Let's kill those malfunctioning cells, and you actually end up rejuvenating.
Oh, nice.
So
I will give it a try. I'll read up on it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't, except you're such a good track record. I'll actually look into it. Because everyone's got bad health advice. I mean, the internet's full of it, right? But
yeah, well, I sent you the scientific paper from .gov. Feel free to check it out.
Thank you.
There's another substance called berberine. You can get it in the pharmacy. So berberine is actually a plant extract. It works like metformin. So metformin does very similar things like apple cider vinegar, except it's just more potent. But what that does, it actually makes your mitochondrial health better by attenuating the function of your existing mitochondria. And so your body freaks out and thinks, okay, I don't have enough mitochondria, I don't have enough energy, let's make more. So that's vital for longevity, because pretty much anything that happens at the end of life, or when people get older after 60s, they get mitochondrial dysfunction.
Right.
And essentially, their metabolic health suffers and they get all kinds of diseases.
How do you spell that? It sounded like you said barbarian.
Barbarin. So kind of like barbarian, with it's BARBERIN.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out. It's no prescription. It makes you hungry, but that's the feature.
Right.
So
understood.
So yeah.
So I mean, I think we've got so much stuff that multiplies by the other stuff. So we've got Hex monetizing time. We've got PulseChain, higher throughput, better for the environment, better tokenomics, lower latency, world's largest free airdrop, PulseX, fee burning, liquid, like most liquid. These all help each other. So PulseChain helps Hex, PulseX helps PulseChain, PulseChain helps PulseX. Everything helps each other. Got a team working on a wallet. MetaMask is fine for now, but in case they're not fine, nice to have it. And I like things that kind of amplify all the other things, if it's possible. Not dying, that would be nice. So medical research, fabulous. Raised 27 million. Probably got to raise a lot more, really. I probably should actually go on a book tour and promote SciVive, because of the hundreds of thousands of users of the products that I've invented, I don't know that many people have read the books, and they're good books. So, you know.
Well, I think the keys to success is user adoption through marketing. That's number one of the things that people from the tech world tend to ignore. Because they're people who are smart on a technical level, they're not necessarily social, because that's how they got smart.
Usually the opposite.
Yeah, that's how they got smart.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it seems almost like you can only have one or the other, but not both. Like, you know.
Yeah. So the funny thing about me is that when I came to America in 1990, I didn't speak English, so English is my second language, and I was the kind of like the nerd by enforcement of inability to speak. So I read a lot.
And got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, generally a nerd would be like somebody who just don't want to be talking to people, and so they spend all their time dealing, playing with code or whatnot. So in my case, I just end up being on Usenet a lot. And one of my early days is I discovered Linux and I discovered open source. So I installed Linux version 0.83b from floppies on my PC, and it worked so much better than Windows 3.0.
I didn't even know that it was that old. I didn't know that there was floppies when Linux was around. I thought Linux was far newer.
No. We had floppies. We had 3.5 inch floppies. There was 11 of them.
Would this be early 90s, I think?
91.
Right.
And for you to install X11, which is the graphical interface, you had to install all of the 11 floppies. It took you an hour, and eventually you would get there, and you would get this beautiful
an hour graphical for GUI. Oh my god!
Yeah, it was amazing, and it actually worked better than Windows. And I'm like, hey, this is great. I am totally into it. And so I got into open source from my early age. I was, I think, about 18. I read all of the Linus's stuff on Usenet, how he developed the kernel, and kind of my early venture into cryptography was essentially understanding OpenSSL and understanding that security matters.
It's too bad you didn't get that heartbleed bug knocked out earlier. I think I've had other. I think there's other I don't think that was the last critical vulnerability in OpenSSL. I think there's been other ones too.
Well, I remember it happening actually. And so my thing before Google was I was a security consultant. I was managing people's firewalls and setting up DMZs and so on and so forth. And when I got into Google, the way that Larry Page pretty much hired me on the spot is I brought in a device that had Linux on the chip. A very, very small chip that would load Linux kernel with the security features, creating kind of like a very, very small solid storage computer that ran the firewall. And Google didn't have any concept of security at all. Like people were using SSH, but a lot of stuff was Telnet actually. And so one of my first jobs at Google is
Telnet so basically Telnet's like unencrypted SSH.
Yeah. Telnet, you can run TCP dump on port 23-A and get all of the packets sniffed, and you can actually see everybody's text. Right. So the engineers at Google, the bunch of Stanford students in Palo Alto, I mean, they needed to connect to the data center securely. And so my first job was to install a secure bridge over PPP running a secure tunnel. PPP OE, yeah, that's the one. So they ran my equipment that I designed for my first startup. So my first startup was a hardware company.
We're so old.
Yeah, so I come for an interview. I open up this box, and Larry and Sergey, they look inside. They're like, "Wait a second, where's the hard drive? Where's the floppy? How's it booting?" And, oh, it's booting from the chip. So it was kind of like
That's nice. Dude.
Like the early Cisco type of thing, except it was a security device that was open source and it ran Linux.
I have never booted a computer from. Apparently, you can boot computers from Ethernet now. Never.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
I've also never used power over Ethernet. There's all. Man, I needed to like.
Yeah,
I don't have.
I use power.
KVM.
Yeah,
I need KVM so bad. I'm like manually switching wires constantly. I mean, I guess it's less attack surface, but it's just a switch. You know, like.
So my first.
Good.
So my first month at Google, I was installing firewalls, and so I log into a firewall and I pushed the wrong firewall rule. And as people know, or people from the firewall world, the default rule is deny all, right? So if you screw up, you kill everything. So I killed everything. I killed Google, and I'm like, hey guys, I accidentally did the wrong thing. Everything's down. Can I borrow a car? Because I didn't have a car. I was broke. And I was taking a train to Google, and it would take too long to take a train and then a bus to the data center.
So basically, like once you brought everything down, you couldn't access your own box anymore?
Absolutely not. Right. Yeah, I mean, there was no concept.
You're like, I need remote hands now.
I need my hands to power down the firewall that I accidentally broke.
Yep.
So I jump into Urs Holsley, the senior VP of Google. I jump into his car. I drive to the data center, praying that I'm not going to get a speeding ticket. Throw my driver license at the security guy, saying everything's down. I need to get into the cage. Run to the cage. Stick my fingers through the cage, wall, and grab the power cables and just pull off the power circuits from the thing, and then plug them back in, and it reboots back to the previous state.
Nice.
And then I come back, and so Larry asked me. He says, "So, what is the lesson we're learning here?" And I'm like, "Listen, the lesson we're learning is that we don't know shit, and especially me, because I'm like 23-year-old dude." But what we should do, we should get out of band dial-up so that if I screw up again, we can dial in, not through the internet link, but connect to the firewall over the modem and undo whatever we do.
Well, I would use a remote. There's a product from APC that would allow you to like log into it to just power cycle actual power cords.
Yes, you can do that, assuming you actually have.
You need a side channel. Yeah. But
yeah,
if you have a side channel, it's pretty awesome.
It's called out of band, and eventually I bought like 500 APC power strips, and they became the standard Google Data Center issue remote reboot things.
Old
school, we got the APC working on it, and
I don't think that changed. Like that is still an awesome idea today. Like sometimes you have to call the data center and be like, "Yo, you need to hard reboot the box." Thanks. Yeah, it's still a thing. That's like never going away.
Yeah. And the funny thing about Google is that when I first joined, they're like, "Hey, so what kind of title do you want?" So I went online and I looked into a little report. Who makes the most money? Which title should make the most money in the future?
That's smart. Good one.
And the one that was making the most money was a senior network administrator.
Nice.
And I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna start a new group. It's called NetOps at Google, and it's okay. I'm gonna be the first one, but since your guys are busy coding the thing and messing with Linux, we need network up and working and be redundant because it's down all the time. So, but in the back of my mind, I figured, this is the highest paying job title, therefore I'm fitting in just nicely. And I figured, hey, as long as there's a manual and as long as there's a Google search, I can figure things out as I go.
Nice, man.
So that's the beginning.
Good choice. Yeah, I like how Elon Musk does his titles. He's Techno King, and like their treasurer is named like the Master of Coin. Apparently,
he's an alien. Yeah. Elon Musk is an alien, and so is Vitalik. By the way, they're from the same. They're from the same planet. Vitalik and Musk. They're from the same planet. Except Musk is like all into like transportation, and Vitalik is like Mother Teresa of the crypto world. He's a crypto Jeebus.
Yeah. I mean, I like Vitalik. He supports the same charities I support, and he writes free software, and but then he also sells the top on the day and makes the top by chucking 50 million on Coinbase, and then telling his buddies at the Ethereum Foundation to dump it too. Yeah. I don't like that much. I don't like the fact that he jacked HEXicans and lots of other ETH users and gave everyone else a discount on gas while raising our gas costs. And then since it averaged out, they were like, "Hey, it was fine because it averaged out." You're like, "No, that's not why that's why we don't use averages. Like that's why."
Did you talk to him about it? Because it seemed like it was circumstantial.
No, it's like, hey man, that little decision of his, along with otherwise high gas fees, allowed PulseChain to be a thing. So
right. Well, hey,
had he not done that and the gas fees not been high, you wouldn't have a PulseChain now.
Sure. So out of adversity, gems blossom. Right. That's the story of the world.
Thanks for driving us to greatness. Here's the funny thing. So like so many people, they call me a scammer, and they make these predictions. They're like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna disappear." You're like, "Hey guys, I'm on TV. I got a documentary near done about me. I keep creating new stuff. The stuff I made previously has been working perfect. I'm out there as much as I could possibly be. How is everyone else doing? In hiding. Where's Susie?
You realize
hiding? Kyle Davies hiding. All these losers that everyone gave more follows to and got wrecked, all in hiding. You're like, well, I won. I'm just going to
realize
stuff.
All of it is the projection. So what people see in the world, they're projecting themselves onto it. So they're thinking, what would I be doing if I was him?
Right.
I would be running for the hills.
Yeah.
Right. And
quit. They're like, I had the reporter lady ask me, like, why do you care about saving people? And my brain is just like, doesn't everyone do that? Like, isn't that like default humanity is to just try to make sure other people aren't getting screwed? Like,
not if you don't have anything. If your bank account is zero and all of a sudden you have $1 billion, the temptation to disappear and abuse the world with your monetary energy is intense.
Weird. I mean, I've been retired since 2003. So like, this is like 20 years of retired. I like when people call me the spam king. You're like, yeah, I got sued 20 years ago, 20 in civil court for $500. And I couldn't get a lawyer to represent me because you're not allowed to in small claims court. You're not allowed to have a lawyer.
So my recommendation
20 years ago
is that you should give people more ammo. So all of those things are already well known.
I wrote books. I wrote SciVive. I mean, there's got to be something terrible in there, right? So it's like it's like 500 pages of book. Surely,
think of a Pareto rule. You should come up with an FAQ, something that's abbreviated than TLDR. This is
for outrage, or like what would we be TLDRing? I mean,
you'll be TLDR.
Was kind of that.
Well, listen. If you're called a spam king and it's already well known.
Oh, you mean like I should have a quick rebuttals thing, like we did for.
No. You need to give more people. You need to give people more things to talk about, like more like. Not only I was a spammer, but here's something else, right? You know, like for example, remember our conversation on Twitter, how I wrecked my Lambo, and I said you should try it.
I don't. You said that I should tell me more about that.
Okay, so you're showing everybody your Lambo, right?
Right.
That's just the ownership part. Now, if you wreck it,
right,
and show pictures of the Lambo smoking and just dying. That's an entirely new meta level of an impact.
So I should throw some turbos on there, probably. That's a nice way to blow your car up.
I mean, if you're thinking about being outrageous, this is the way to do it. So not only did you own things and you're showing things that you own, but let's actually dispose of them in the most incredible type of way. Actually, put them to use. So when I had an orange Lambo. When I had an orange Lambo, I bought it, and then I drove it to the track at Laguna Seca, and I killed it. Right? So I had it for a day, and then it died.
Interesting.
Right?
I mean, look,
so
these things have popped into my head. I was driving it recently, and there was like a road that just kind of went into water, and I was like, I could just make a video of me just driving this into the water. So these ideas have popped into my head, but then I also was like, I also would like to drive away from here as well instead of
that's fine. I mean, there are ways to make it believable. You just need to practice it, and this is just one example, right?
Yeah, I mean, we know we have the list of outrageous things that work because they're on YouTube. So like I saw a guy run over his new Dior Nikes with a monster truck. I've seen that same guy buy a Lambo and then like immediately take it to the salt flats and like injure it. So I've seen this particular brand of outrage marketing, and I'm by default, I'm very adverse to harming the stuff that I own. So I'd rather do outrage stuff that is like constructive instead of destructive, if possible. So I'd rather make a giant statue of myself
and blow it up.
No blowing up. But like, just I think we can have outrageous greatness that only grows or gets bigger instead of shriveling. I want
here's the thing about
of outrage marketing.
Here's the thing about human psychology, and that might actually be in your book in SciVive. So what it is, there's a build-up, and then there needs to be discharge, right?
Right.
The build-up itself loses its potency when it's built up too much, and it is continuously pressuring things up. So the discharge is shit blowing up.
Well, maybe, but I think you could discharge alternatively. So like it just, in music, the change doesn't need to be silence or a horrible sound. It could just be a different good sound. I think I value your opinion. I mean, if you want to go smarty pants with it, like Kurt Vonnegut has the chart of every story graphically, and he's very proud of it. So you can see the shapes of stories with.
So this is kind of a Elon Musk thing. So he actually pretty good at it. So he builds a rocket and he puts Tesla on it to send it to space, right?
It was a good one.
It's kind of like flexing.
Very good one.
Yeah, it's very good one. So
I could do the same thing if he lets me. I would have to write him a check.
You should do your own thing.
Horrible way to do that. Yeah, I know. Like I'm gonna do in real life outrageous things.
Yeah, and I also had the ideas. So like, remember how you talked about NFTs being scams?
Well, mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there is a way to put it on its head and basically release your personal NFT, Richard Hart's NFT.
Well, I am,
and
I'm gonna do the Hex Diamond as one, but I just haven't had time to do it yet.
Except the twist in the story should be that how NFT is supposed to be non-fungible. You make it fungible. You make it fungible. You make the first fungible NFT. So rather than having it non-fungible, you make it fungible, and that will make it very different.
I'm gonna have to think about that one.
You can make NFT. You can make NFTs build other NFTs. So that's all part of blockchain. So you can make it smart. It can make tokens that can build other NFTs and so on and so forth. So you can build fungibility under the premise of non-fungible NFTs, like so to speak, right? So now that is a very unique and interesting thing, and
we'll have to talk about that one. I'm so tired right now that like I'm 10 IQ points down. I'm down to 130, 135. This is rough.
You know what helps? This and put some red pepper, cayenne pepper into it.
Okay.
Cayenne pepper. So when you drink cayenne pepper with apple cider vinegar, your body freaks out. It thinks you're poisoning your body.
Oh my God.
what happens is that you're not really poisoning, but the body thinks, okay, something terrible is happening.
Right.
Upregulate adrenaline, upregulate recovery systems. You're gonna get.
Well, this is also like if you eat so a lot of the stuff that we have that actually works as medicine is stuff that the plants or the animals used as medicine internally. So if you eat so when plants are injured, they release their like fix myself compounds. I can't remember what they're called. Bioflavonoids. I don't remember. And then, is that what it is? I can't remember.
It's similar. So there's a compound called sulforaphane. So sulforaphane gets released into animals' mouths when they chew on plants. Okay. So that's how plants protect themselves. Now, sulforaphane tells your body that something is really bad happening. It happens to be a longevity drug too.
Okay.
So anytime
I think this one's unrelated, like a little bit, and that this is the stuff that the plant releases to protect itself. Yeah. Differently than that way. If you eat that, like you also
like weed
fixes you too.
Like weed fixes a lot of people, you know.
Maybe. I don't. It just makes me go to sleep, so I'm not for it. It's like, oh, sleep time. Cool. I can sleep on my own. I don't need this.
No, for sure. I mean, you know what they say, plants, they can't run away. So they have to protect themselves by giving animals indigestion so that they're not eaten. Yeah, plants cannot run away. So they develop mechanisms to repel animals from eating them, and especially their young. So anything that's sprouts, for example, so Brussels sprouts and radish sprouts, same thing. It changes the way your body reacts.
They also want you to eat them. Like that's what fruits are. Fruits are please eat.
Yes.
Elsewhere.
Well, they want you to eat their natural way to disseminate their seeds, right? Yeah. But not their young.
Not
so
the roots.
They want to. Yeah. Exactly.
So what's the best like? I love having you on the squad, mostly because you've got such a good street cred. I don't know what we could be doing better. Like the devs are working super duper hard. The like Hex is doing what it's always done. It dips. It's in the game. I like people that like talk about the blue chips in crypto. You're like, okay, Bitcoin went up not even a 4x from its last all-time high to its most recent all-time high. It couldn't even do a 4x. It couldn't get from 20K to 80K. It could only get to 69, and it took 5 years. And then, you know, Hex is up 250 times versus Bitcoin since January 5th of 2020. It's still up 250x. It's like a giant bull flag. The second giant bull flag on the weekly chart. And then, you know, let's talk about dips. And so if you look from bottom up, Hex is up 250 times higher than Bitcoin over that time frame. And then if you look from bottom down, Bitcoin dropped 73, Ethereum dropped like 83, and then Hex dropped like 93. And then when they go to get up again, which one do you think is going to get up the hardest? Like, it's just, I don't understand how people could look at such obvious data and not see, like, it's limp, it barely pumps, but the dumps are almost the same size. But this thing pumps hard as hell, and the dumps are about the same size. Like, it just seems so obvious to me.
Well, I think the story should be is that you guys are merging the true blockchain innovation in a token that has value, where everything else out there is leveraged to the, you know.
Yeah, we don't have any leverage on our chart. There's no way to long it. There's no way to short it. There's the least pain of liquidation because it's
well, that's exactly is the point. So I think there needs to be a stronger message that you are the most natural blockchain enabled token that has e-commerce built into it. And when I say e-commerce,
I like the security angle, because if you don't have security, you don't have anything. And I'm telling you, Hex is more secure than Bitcoin. It's just safe inside a safe. Bitcoin's just one safe. Hex is a safe in a safe. If people really understood that, I think people are like, what's Hex's use case? Well, other than being up 250x versus Bitcoin in like a couple of years, other than that, it's more secure literally. You're more likely to have an inflation bug again in Bitcoin than you are in Hex. Extremely more likely.
Well, I think if we want to help the world, there needs to be literally outreaches to teach people what blockchain is and what self-custody is. And Hex will naturally fall into it. So it doesn't need to be Hex first and then the features after. It could be here are the features of the blockchain.
On-ramp a ton of people, dude. I think PulseChain, the world's largest airdrop, is going to on-ramp a ton of people.
I mean, it could. Blockchains are sexy, especially the new blockchains.
It only airdropped the most toxic community, unfortunately. So, we're not going to have that problem with PulseChain.
Yeah, I feel like the other thing that could really help is the gamification in a good way. So I think I listened to Vitalik.
I see Maddie days ago. There, like his head is there. We're probably overtime or something. What's up, Maddie?
Yeah, I keep going.
You just wanted your head in there. All right.
So quick thing about Vitalik. So somebody asked him, "What is money?" And he said, "Money is kind of a game." So people are playing with the economic energy.
Definition better. My definition is way better than that. So all that matters is goods and services, and money is just the accounting to let those things happen. And that's it. Like money actually is pretty useless on its own. It just is as useful as it helps us create and allocate the goods and services.
I call it social contracts. So in other words, if you have $100 or €100 in your pockets and you have it today, in your pocket it's worth nothing. But it's the future that matters. Will you buy gas or a cup of coffee with it, and will people honor you're actually getting it done? You know, buying it from the world. So it's a social contract future depicted on a piece of paper. That's my definition. So
it seems fair.
Yeah,
that seems fair. All right, Maddie. Do we talk about all the stuff we should talk about? I guess we didn't have like a.
You guys crushed it. You know, I suspect both of you are Bitcoin billionaires. I'm not sure if you'll admit it, but you know, Jack said that he sold the $30 top. Richard has said
he sold
that
it
he bought it.
Yeah.
And
well,
that's an amazing story.
As long as you rebuy it, you did great, bro. But if you didn't rebuy, wrecked. I'm trying to fix my screen. Ugh, sorry, I'm like half of a brain here.
Yeah, since Bitcoin been 30, I'm sleeping like a baby, waking every hour crying.
Dude, I bought the top. I didn't understand order books back then. I literally did not understand them. I was like, yeah, just give me, a lot of that. Thanks. Oh, I made the top. Darn.
It's hard to buy the bottom because of the confirmation bias. When everybody agrees that this is the way, right? You're like, yep, this is the way. Let's buy all of it. It will go faster, higher.
People don't realize, like, the reason that so many people buy tops is because you couldn't have bought the bottom because you didn't hear about it until the price ran up a lot. Like, the reason you heard about it is because the price ran up a lot. If it didn't run up a lot, you wouldn't have heard about it, and then you couldn't have bought it. And so there's this natural tendency to, like, buy tops because that's when people let you know that it exists. So it's like it adds to the reflexivity. That particular form of reflexivity is different than the I want to buy it because it seems more valuable, because it is literally. I want to buy it because it is more valuable. Like, there are people that prefer to pay more. And when they could pay less, they don't want it anymore because it's too cheap.
So I know this is a horrible idea, but I just want to say it. Coinbase should release a shitcoin ETF, where instead of the good coins,
FTX has that already.
You buy the worst ones, the ones that just came out. Nobody knows about
the worst ones. I'm not sure.
The worst ones. It's an ETF that if you buy it and one of them goes to the moon, you're not gonna be completely wrecked. So the worst ones.
I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's like.
I know it's terrible, but that's why it's so good.
That's destructive right there. So, Maddie, what's up, bro? What are we doing?
Well, I want to thank Jack for agreeing to come on Game Theory Gang this Tuesday night with David Feeder and I. we'll try to convince him to switch from getting yield from providing liquidity in Hex to getting yield from time locking. And I'm sure we can also discuss tons of other interesting things when it comes to Hex and longevity. So thank you, Jack, for making yourself available tonight and in the future.
Thanks, Richard.
Can I go
save
get
the world?
coffee? I'm like,
yeah,
let's do it. Let's actually save the world, man. Thanks for being on the journey.
Save yourself first.
I'm trying, dude. Look my shirt.
From being tired. Yeah, I'm wearing. I don't have any Hex swag, but I came up with the color scheme that kind of matches Pulse a little bit.
Pulsey. All right, I'll be right back, man. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. All right.
Okay.
Is that okay? Can I go?
Yeah,
boss
of course.
Man.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back.
So everybody who's watching now, feel free to like and subscribe. We've had an epic conference so far today, and I'm really excited that we've been able to put this together. Jack, what did you think of the 5 levels?
I think it was awesome. Lots of interesting conversations. Those little boys were adorable. I'm like, oh, those guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're getting schooled in cool stuff. And speaking of education, it's just amazing how quickly you can get up to speed on pretty much anything nowadays. Just go to YouTube and find very good people to listen and to learn from, and you can get a compressed, kind of like on your own schedule, schooling and education that you can apply to your life. You can immediately experiment with it. So that's what I think is so amazing about just the online world nowadays.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think a lot of us found Richard from YouTube and trying to educate ourselves about crypto.
So our retirement years with Richard were pretty similar. Google went IPO in 2004. I kind of gave up my salary and I stayed around longer just because I didn't have anything else to do. And then after a year, I figured,
if only I had a bottle of apple cider vinegar.
To bail.
Well,
with cayenne pepper.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more. We're looking forward to having you on the show on Tuesday, and so everybody should make sure to tune in for that.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys have fun. It was an awesome conversation. Follow me on Twitter. DM me.
What's your username? Is it under your?
It's on the video. Yeah.
MRJACKLEVIN.
That's right.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, Jack.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Awesome. So did you get a chance to get some coffee?
I did.
Cool.
It's had no effect. I hope it makes a difference at some point.
Now the option is yours next. Would you like to give a keynote solo for 30 minutes or move on to the part where I'm trying to present some information and asking you?
I gave my keynote to the elementary school kid.
Okay. Fair enough. Well,
I mean, like, I think everyone watching has heard most of the things I commonly say already because of where the users are coming from. So like the highest utility I can have on these types of people that are already in the know kind of streams is like new stuff, in my opinion. So
can I present a couple of things that are maybe a little bit new?
Yeah.
So I made this chart, which I think in general is correct. Like, we could argue like maybe the numbers are a tiny bit off, but in general, one thing that we know about people who hold Hex shares is that they're time locked for way longer than other cryptos, probably 20 times as long. And I don't think I've heard that statistic been used before in our community, but it's I'm curious on
You'd have to look at
take on
like
it.
average. You'd have to look at like the days destroyed statistic. Well, I mean, there's a, how do I say this? So like if you go to bit info charts, I think it is. Like if you just type Bitcoin rich list, it should be like the top result. They have a days destroyed chart that shows how long coins have been sitting dormant without moving.
Mhm.
And then if old coins move, then that's like, you know, a bunch of days that used to be concurrent, like getting destroyed. I think that's how it works. I'm so tired that I may have inverted it. But the point is you can tell in Bitcoin and most other, nearly any other public blockchain, how long coins have just been sitting. It's like Satoshi's coins have never moved. And so I wouldn't doubt that ours was absolutely awesome, but like, you know, I can barely see your chart. So I assume you looked at the days destroyed stuff and that's how you generated this chart? Because
it's even simpler than that. And
okay.
But I think it's still important to say that
how do you know how long people held Bitcoin for?
It's a Coinbase statistic that they use for advertising to try to tell people the simple version of like which one's better than the other. Of course, they don't.
I think their stats suck. I think they're doing a disservice to Bitcoin with that, because I think the average Bitcoiner holds longer than 118 days. But look, I might be wrong.
There's a lot of people who move in and out of it, I think, and you know, Hex. You might like this. So it's
this right is
now. Right now we're up to 6.5 years. It's 6.5 years is the average.
So I've been quoting like 5.8. That's crazy. And it just keeps going up.
Here's something.
Where'd you get that from? Did you get that from Staker app or from
HEXdailystats.com?
Okay.
HEXdailystats.com.
All right.
And so this is even wilder. We're talking, you know, you deserve a Nobel Prize, you know.
Noble. I'm the noble. So
since day 100 in Hex, the average went from 3.99 years average staked to 6.5. So that's an increase of 2.5 years.
I bet if you pull, it would sound bigger if you did it percentage wise. It'd be like a 50% increase.
Well, well, check this out. There's an escape velocity happening because it's an increase of 2.5 years locked in 2.34 calendar years. And so it's accelerating.
Interesting.
And it might not do that forever.
I bet it would be even longer. I bet you these numbers would be even longer if you removed the OA daughters. I think their average is like 5 years. So the OA daughters like actually bring the average down, but they're different, right? Like, so if it is the case that an OA daughter just never sells, no crystal ball, but if that is the case, then there's no reason for that like thing that ain't selling anyway to like draw down the average. I bet if you remove the OA daughters from the like staking totals, that like, because I think they were at 1.20% of shares, but so much time has passed, maybe it's less.
I've got the numbers updated today.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you pulled out OA daughters, then like I bet your average would be even higher than whatever it is now. What'd you say it was now? So 6. I've been quoting 6 and you're saying 6.5. So we gained half a year. Nice. Yeah. So like it's interesting, right? There's a lot of, it's very cool.
Another thing that's analysis. Another thing that's shocking, and you know, mainstream economists, if they're not biased, would I think really be impressed. The percentage of staked Hex, if you don't include the OA daughters, 75% of user-controlled Hex is thought to be time locked.
Cool. That's great.
It's really incredible that much Hex got locked, and I think the sacrifices really helped with that as well.
Well, that's another thing, is that like so much hex got pulled off the open market. It's rare to find it now. Like on the hex is much more rare on the you'd have to look at this, but I my gut feeling is that the amount of hex that's available on the automated market makers now is probably a lot less than it was on the run up. And so that may mean it's like a lot easier to go up higher this time than it was the first time, but you'd have to like check it. But I mean, that's what my gut feels like. But it would be interesting to look at.
I'm offering a course for free that goes through chain analysis 101. I saw on Fox Business you mentioned a couple times that things can be verified on chain.
Yep, that's right.
I think that Hex having not only the majority of its volume trading on chain, but also having the chart of future market supply, it's really revolutionary.
I agree 100%. 100%.
Another interesting thing from me having the luxury of being able to travel to other countries here recently, because the Hex allowed me to retire and do whatever I want. I thought it was really interesting to get into the shoes of people who live outside of the United States and to realize how irrational saving money is in an inflationary environment.
Yep. True. It's true. The more you save, the more you lose in those countries. I mean, it's kind of like that in America too. You just lose slower. It is like that in America. You just lose slower than the other countries.
The way that Hex has its monetary policy to be able to pay inflation to the people who are not selling, I think that
the people that deserve it the most.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. Like the people who earn the most and actually the people that deserve it the most. It's a beautiful meritocracy.
I have a theory that this could really change people's subconscious psychology, because it's our monetary environment, or our environment in general, that determines our behavior to a great degree. And so if people had a way to look forward to the future, if people had a way to know that saving,
we've seen it. We know that. Again. We know it works because we've seen it work. We've had hundreds of people say that this stuff saved them, like save them emotionally, save them mentally. And hundreds is probably a low estimate. It's like a very low estimate. We know this makes people healthier mentally. We've seen it.
Since all of the things have started to come true that you predicted in the bear market, certain, big names going down, Celsius and etc. I started a new initiative kind of as an experiment where I said I was willing to pay people to create a suicide prevention plan. And I would pay them some pulse points that I'm now on the hook for. Not very much.
I would change the framing. I would just change the framing. So instead of naming it a suicide prevention plan, you just call it a enjoy life plan.
That's really good feedback.
Yep.
The thing I've got set up now is cryptosaveslife.com. And there were already 12 people who signed up and wrote a 3-sentence, suicide prevention plan that connects them with whatever country they're in, the suicide prevention hotline as well. And
people that are watching are like, what? Like Maddie's in the mental health business. He coaches people and is professionally certified to do so, I believe. You have some degree from the government that lets you do these things, I think.
I did about 10,000 hours of therapy with people in my state. I'm not licensed to practice in any state. And so what I say on YouTube is more like free education for people. But yes, I do have the right background.
You do counseling, but there's no magic number the government gives you to do it or something?
I was doing, for 7 years, I served people that were mostly on Medicaid So they made less than $15,000 a year, and they were court ordered, about 90% of them, which taught me a lot about how people, they don't have to want to change in order to change, but that's how most people think about behavior change.
Right.
And, you know, Hex is a really good example of where I think people discover, you know, the emergent properties of it once they actually do the process of staking, sending money to their future selves.
Tell me more of your stuff.
Sure. Well, you know, I think someday Hex could be used to unlock a new function of money, because people don't think of money as being able to use it to pay yourself. It's always, if it's an external source, that's what motivates you. You know, working for somebody else, a job that you hate, you're willing to do it. But once you have dollars in your bank account, it doesn't give you the same motivation that somebody else's bank account does. But with programmable money, and Hex is the first example of where people, they've decided to change their own behavior using the truth engine by creating a savings plan that now they're forced to stick with, whatever that would be. And the extreme price appreciation is part of the mechanism that incentivizes people to pay their future self.
Yeah, it's a very interesting angle. I think it I don't ever measure how I treat myself very often. So I'm not very reflective in that way. I'm too busy like focused on the outside world and like other stuff, other people, things like that. So for me, it's like alien, the concept of like paying my future self. But I think a lot of other people kind of use that frame more often, you know? So they probably will get it a lot easier than me. Like my brain's like, pay myself, but I'm already me. Who's this other self? You know, like it's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's interesting because the job I had before I worked in mental health for 7 years was in a neuroscience laboratory where we paid people $1,000 to quit smoking. We also gave them all the tools that they needed and accountability. So we weren't just measuring the effect of the $1,000, but I found it extremely fascinating that people could, you know, people who wanted to quit smoking, of which there are 2 billion smokers in the world. Not everybody wants to quit, but some people do. People who want to quit, they keep paying thousands of dollars for cigarettes, but it's something about somebody coming along externally and saying, hey, I'll give you this bonus.
Right.
And so with programmable money, you know, if we can pay ourselves to delay gratification with Hex, I think that there's a whole new economy that could emerge around this idea of, you know, now sure, you're going to say you have the Oracle problem if you're really trying to, you know.
Yeah, but like it's like,
but it's not
a lot of times the Oracle just doesn't lie. I mean, hell, the oracles are truthful more often than they lie. So it's like,
even if people get their money back, you know, even if people stake $1,000 to quit smoking and then they get their money back because they cheated, they've still nudged themselves in the right direction. And in a world where you'd expect technology to keep growing, you know, getting exponentially better, making things cheaper, if the government wasn't printing infinitely more money,
right?
You know, I think the future is extremely valuable to monetize. I think time can be monetized. I think Hex does the best example of this, and it's almost like a fourth dimensional, you know, thing. I don't think rich people realize that that there's something that they can't do with Hex that they or that they can do with Hex that they can't do with any other monetary instrument. You can't force yourself to hold with any other monetary asset without external counterparty risk from a third party.
Maddie, I am super duper tired. What else do we got on the menu, brother?
Let's see. StickerGuy, if you want to send anybody else in that we have waiting, we can speed up the.
Please, dying of tired. Dying.
Richard, another thing that I just wanted to point out is you're following on Twitter. It's grown amazingly. And,
about a $250
the
million
things
now.
that you're doing are working. It was a little bit over a year ago.
My outrage marketing works. All of you noobs that don't understand why it works. That's why I owned a 150-person marketing company and retired 20 years ago off of it, and you didn't. Okay? I'm better at marketing than you, noobs, which is why I have more followers than you, which is why I've been doing it for decades. What I'm doing works. Period. They won't let us advertise the way normal people advertise. Crypto ads are banned. I can't even advertise myself. They won't even accept the ads. The fact that I exist as a human being, unacceptable. But they'll give me all the free press I want if I just act funny. So I'll take the free press instead of just being cancel cultured and no one knows I exist.
One of the things that you mentioned on your YouTube channel, like in passing, was that Periscope was scheduled to go offline, and one thing I wanted to let you know is that it still works to be able to duplicate your stream automatically onto Twitter. You have a huge following there, and so I think that you could reach thousands and thousands of more people if you turn that back on.
Good idea. Awesome. That is a good idea. Basically, in order to do it, I have to grab an extra capture card, stream an extra copy at low res, just to their duplicating platform, because they only support 1080p, but I stream at 4K. So I have to stream at 4K and then bust out an extra copy on another capture card or something similar. I think OBS actually has a virtual camera built into it that may act as a proxy or something. It's a good idea. You're going to have to remind me when I'm conscious again.
Sure. Absolutely. Now,
there's no reason not to use this good content that we generate across as many places as we can.
We're speeding up the program here, so if we want to go around the room quickly, and each person can ask Richard one question before he
dies of tired.
Gets some rest. Sticker Guy, do you want to go first? Who's ready?
Sticker Guy is going to have the longest shit. Go last, Sticker Guy.
Oh, true.
Everyone else is going to have
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Give me the guy in the colorful shirt.
I'll go. Okay. So Richard, I've heard some devs talk about that. So I understand that V2 for Uniswap you have to have equal order size on either side. Yep. I've heard a dev potentially say I saw it on Telegram that they were looking to add limit orders. Is that something that's potentially going to happen to PulseX?
Yes. Maybe. It depends. It's already built. It's already there. Mm-hmm. It's already being tested. I don't know if it makes production or not because I haven't tried it myself yet. I look at that and I'm like, okay, we care about PulseX doing well. Does this feature make PulseX do better? If so, then you probably see it. If not, you probably don't.
That's fair. I like that.
So does it still give PulseX fees? If not, well, maybe that doesn't get added. I don't know. I gotta look at the details. But
one other question.
I'm looking at it from a perspective of what's best for PulseX.
I've been messing around on the testnet and everything. On Uniswap, it adds the commas, and sometimes the numbers are so big that it's hard to
submit a bug report on GitLab.
Gotcha.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Front end bug, easy bug. Next.
Nice to meet you, sir, by the way.
Pleasure.
I guess my question is, and me and Tindy's were talking about this a second ago, Hex on Pulse, Hex on Ethereum. Is it, we say airdrop, but is Hex going into PulseChain? Is that more, should we think of it more as a migration? Should everyone think of it as a migration and it being the Hex?
No, because you could get wrecked. So how do you know? I don't know what everyone's going to do. I think PulseChain is going to kick Ethereum's butt, but let's see. So if you decide to swap all of your Hex in one direction, and then the market decides to go the other direction, you didn't win. You lost. And so I think in theory that Hex on PulseChain should be more valuable but I don't really know. Like, we have to find out what everyone else thinks, you know? So if it, like, you could call it a migration, if like, I don't think a migration is the right word. I think there's always going to be a market for Hex on Ethereum. And as long as there's liquidity and people are trading it, there's the market is going to be there. And so I just like, I think that they will start at similar prices, but I don't have a surety about it. But no one's ever seen this before. No one's ever seen this before. It's going to be extremely interesting. So I like, basically what I would feel comfortable saying is, you don't know what everyone else is going to decide, and what everyone else decides greatly affects the price. Hex on the Pulse chain could be worth twice as much as Hex on the Ethereum chain, or it could be worth half. Nobody knows. It's we need to learn what the market thinks. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, I wish I could predict with perfect certainty what the future holds for things that have never been done before. But like, let's all learn it together. I'm just telling you guys, be very careful when you pick your side, because if you care about the price and not just the technology, what other people decide also matters. You know?
Very good.
So like some people think that like the Ethereum Hex is going to like drop and the Pulse Hex is going to go up a lot. Yeah, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. Let's see, you know?
Cool. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right. Let's take StickerGuy. Let's do it.
And Zurich, you said I should become a YouTuber, and you said that you're going to subscribe. It's YouTube/StickerGuy. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Also, that was not a question. Also, I took my time. I wrote down a lot of questions, and I have still many, many more. So my question is, would you like to come on my YouTube channel so I can ask you more questions?
I'm trying to punch upwards, and I'm sure you don't have many followers yet, but you're about to gain. You're about to gain one more.
Nice.
I really try to focus on people we haven't on-ramped yet. Like, anyone that's going to be watching you is already in, you know?
I know. It's hard.
StickerGuy. Can you tell me it again? StickerGuy
win. Yes.
I'm going to subscribe to you. There you go, man.
Okay, so I'll just make all the videos with questions to you, and you just watch it when you have time, and then you make like a response video or something.
That's like a genie question. That's like asking for more wishes.
Just remember, I'm very tired, and you'll be lucky if I remember this conversation tomorrow. But I did subscribe.
Hey, you never know if you never try.
Oh, true.
Okay,
give me one or two more.
Oh, one or two more. Okay. How about, why are you not buying Twitter? Why not buying Twitter? Like the Elon Musk hype.
I think I could build my own for far cheaper.
Yeah,
and I know you have the problem of on-ramping users, but like, let me see. How did? Hold on. Let me finish answering that question. How did Elon's purchase of Twitter go?
Just how you predicted.
It's not about buying Twitter. It's about getting publicity. Crypto billionaire founder steps in to buy Twitter. Oh yeah, okay, you got wrecked. Whatever. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
I mean, I'd rather buy. I don't know, dude. I don't want to buy Twitter. I just don't think it's a good business. It's like they don't make enough money, in my opinion. So like, I don't care.
Okay, yeah, but do you need more money?
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm just so used to running that program, man. Like, I'm still cheap. I still like. I don't understand all the resources I have, so I'm still like trying to get bargains on things. Like, I really care about not buying the real estate top. I really care about like not buying the watch top. So
somebody has to buy the top.
No, yeah, I guess, but it ain't me. Like, I still love getting deals, man. I really do. So maybe it would be smart of me to shake free of that and like get worse deals, but go faster.
Time is valuable.
Yeah, it probably would. It's gonna take me time to learn that, man. Like I hate getting bad deals. But you have to understand it's a good deal if you're in a position like, yeah, I don't know. I bought a few million cars, whatever. All right, next. Good questions, man. Let's go with top middle.
Hey, what's up, Richard? Pleasure talking to you, meeting you.
Pleasure.
Year ago when I stumbled across a panel show you were on, I heard you talking about Hex and PulseChain. I was able to get in on the PulseChain sacrifice, and I've been on board ever since. I just wanted to say I appreciate you, the Hex community. We believe in you. We trust you. And regardless of all the crap that's thrown your direction, we got your back.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
If I know you're tired, and if I were to ask just one question, it would be as far as like YouTubers like myself and these other guys. I know we're pre-viral. I know there's a lot of different things going on with people trying to get the word out. Any other thing you could just off the top of your head that we could?
I clout chase other communities. So I'll go into so I don't publicly follow anybody except Richard Hart Maxis on Twitter. And then occasionally you see, a Richard Hart Maxi start talking about some stupid coin. I'm like, unfollow. Because I'm not a viral vector for you to pump sucky bags, But I do, using the lists feature, still see other people's tweets outside of the RH Maxis. And then I clout chase. And I'm hitting those Bitcoin tags constantly. I'm hitting the Ethereum tags constantly. Because that's where the users are. And so, I get my face and my name and the things I care about out there by going to places where people don't already know about them. So like this live stream right here, everybody watching already knows. Maybe 1% of the viewers or 5% or maybe 10% are people that are new because of the way it was marketed. It's marketed primarily to people that already know. And so getting this into the eyeballs and attention spheres of people that aren't already in the know requires you to be places that you've not been before, So I'll give you an example. This guy founded a coin that sucked. It basically failed on launch. But for some reason, he has a following. It's weird. He talked crap about how crappy Hex is. That's perfect. Because I couldn't have reached his audience otherwise, but he reached them for me. Now his audience, some part of them will go look at Hex and decide, he's wrong about this one. The founders, co-founder of Tezos, the Brightman girl, she talked smack about Hex on a news report on TV, I think. Great. That's awesome. I couldn't have bought that, right? And so those are examples of other people doing my job better than me and getting my message out in front of, not perfectly my message, but at least something that's a breadcrumb that'll lead to it, to audiences that could therefore be saved. I looked at Tezos' chart. It's absolutely trash. Absolutely trash. That other dude's chart, his coin failed at launch. Now they went and used their admin keys to go make a bunch of changes, but it still sucks. So, you have to get in front of other people, and that requires them to know you exist. And that means that you need to do outbound messaging. You need to be in their threads. You need to be hitting their tags. And advertising outside crypto is great, particularly when everyone in crypto is recently wrecked. So, you know, since Ethereum's down 80% or whatever, it's nice to on-ramp people that are pre-wrecked. Like, you know, because they might on-ramp with more energy. Yeah, so you're going to have to do all the same crap that I did, man. You know, be interesting and get your name and your messages out in front of people that haven't already seen them.
We were trying
and I'm still doing this. Like I'm hitting Louis Vuitton hashtags, Prada hashtags, Bitcoin hashtags. Like, you know, man, I put in effort.
We were trying to direct people to if they're going to stream, do what you like to do and just bring Hex along with you, whether you're wearing the shirt or the hat.
Great idea.
Get the audience and people out of curiosity will ask you why are you always wearing that hat, or what's with the thing behind you or whatever. So, you know,
stick the .com and the 40% APY on there and you might get asked a lot quicker.
Nice.
Just the logo itself doesn't do crap, guys. It just looks cool. That unique benefit statement, 40% APY. Hex.com. Now they know it's a .com, right? So I love adding the .com and I love adding the 40% APY because, and you could be like 39%, something like that. This, like, the more like exact the number, the more people are like, oh, it's like they really measured it, you know? It's not like made up. Yeah, so if you're shilling, I think definitely include the .com and the 40% APY or some other unique benefit statement. But I think that one's the most concise, compelling one we have. By the way, how much better does this leopard shirt look than the last one?
Yeah.
Same season, same manufacturer, but God, this one's way better.
You don't look like a camouflage tomato anymore, Richard. Like that.
Dude,
one.
I look like a fat last shirt was so bad.
That one's sharp.
That's the worst. Thanks, man.
Is that Dolce? What is that?
Dolce & Gabbana, yeah.
So I think My Life is Awesome is the last one to ask a question here.
He's got his webcam pointed up at the sky. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? What's happening?
I'm falling asleep on stream.
Well, it's a pleasure.
I don't think I ever actually fell asleep on stream. Nope, I don't think. That would be more. If I did, it would be really popular. No, I didn't.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm the first PulseChain channel that covered everything PulseChain and just went at it. 50, 70 videos, just pumping this community.
Epic.
And honestly, it was kind of easy to do because the leader that we have, and you know, people attract what's around them, and you've attracted some of the smartest minds, some of the best hearts.
I love that.
And I've heard you say your favorite thing is the community.
It is.
And we're really here for you. Like in a bear where everyone's tanking, I was able to convey to my audience to get out of the stock market and get into these Richard Hart sacrifices. And you saved thousands of people from getting wrecked in these markets, and we sacked into your products.
I like free speech, and I like freedom of movement, and I'm glad everyone else loves them.
Yeah,
and I also like the blockchain. So free coins, I love free coins. I got Bitcoin for free. You know, like when I double clicked the EXE back in 2011, I was getting 50 BTC every once in a while, right? My computer. I think freemium onboarding is like a wonderful way to bring people into stuff. Who doesn't like free money? Free money is awesome. Thank you so much for being a HEXican and a PulseChain YouTuber. It matters, man. I mean, where do you think all these new users are coming from? I think it's you guys.
Would you entertain what Jack was saying earlier about taking some super expensive items like a Ferrari and just smashing it or doing something?
I'm not destroying my shit. No, I won't destroy my shit. I'll do it more creatively, dude. I'm not blowing my shit up. That's stupid. I'm against that. I will find a better, more exciting way to be interesting that doesn't involve blowing up my shit.
What is it?
You guys can blow up your shit, but I suggest you don't. Because when you do it and no one pays attention, you're going to be like, damn, I didn't get any press and I blew up my shit. You're going to feel really stupid. You're going to have the raise 27 million for charity, no one cared moment.
Is there any political movement or anything you think you'd ever get involved in for points?
Richard Hart for president sounds cool. Starting my own country sounds cooler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm waiting for that.
I mean, I've got a whole book on it, like the Fix the World book. It's got a section on that. It's just, we have such larger impact on the things that we're already working on, and those things can scale so much easier. Like, we're working on the right things, like removing counterparty risk from trading, the world's largest free airdrop, monetizing time, empowering individuals to get their freedom back, financial freedom, privacy. Like, it's really a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And we should continue to focus on it and not branch out until it really is critical mass viral. After that, you can chill and it will do its own thing and it's all good. But until you're critical mass viral, you should keep stepping on the gas, in my opinion. So I'm not I don't want to play politics and charity games. I don't want to play buy a yacht and figure out how to outfit it games. I don't want to play like upgrade my living situation because I'm focused on the critical mass stuff. And I think everyone else should kind of be thinking along the same lines.
Is crypto a means to an end for longevity research?
Well, yeah, or you die. That's your call. You know, you could either try and save your life or just die with a whimper. I'm not really the whimper type. So I guess it's a means to an end, sure. But, you know, right now, like, I put a lot more time into flexing than I do into like reading medical research. So, you know, I'm not there yet. Maybe in a couple of years. A couple is probably too short, but you know what I mean? Maybe in a few years.
Yeah. What would you like to see?
I'd like the Save Your Ass Fund that, you know, people can get rich in and still maybe save their own lives. I like that. I mean, my roadmap's never changed, right? Like, I should publish the book for more flex value. Like,
but write the check for the guy who's doing the book stuff.
Well, yeah, actually.
Just
okay,
make
that's
a
great
list,
advice. That's great advice.
Do the list.
That's great advice. If I should deploy my capital.
If you need an employee, I'm currently unemployed. If I can get, yeah. Just let me know.
So, okay. Yeah. I like the sound of it. Like, just hire more people to do the things that I wish were done and then hope that they do them. Like, I've just had so many people say they were going to do things and not do them and I've had the same conversation on one of these types of streams before, and the story hasn't changed. I hate getting ripped off so much that I don't feel like hiring 4 guys to do the same job and then one of them works. But like, that is kind of what I'm doing with Pulse already anyway. Like, I have parallel teams. So it's like, yeah. So much work. Oh, I've got so much work I have to do. God. If you
just don't do it, then it will be easier to do it once you're relaxed.
I feel like if anybody needed a personal assistant, it would be you. You got a lot of
maybe I could use a publicist as well. Maybe I could also use, like, I could use so many things. It's so like, but I'm just cheap. Like, I don't want to waste money on things I need.
Like, some volunteers. Sometimes you got to spend money to make money, though. You know that. So
I know.
Might be a hidden return. Because if you have a good publicist, they might be worth their weight in gold. Might get you in front of more eyes. You know.
Mm-hmm. Particularly when you're multiplying their marketing with, like, I do great interviews with everybody, and it doesn't matter who they are. So, like, it would be a wonderful match.
You're easily marketable. So
we're getting there, boys. We're getting there.
You know what? The worst thing that could happen is that it fails, but then you're still at the same point that you started.
Yeah. You've compelled me to consider increasing my human resources.
I'm not saying you should build a pyramid scheme, but
I don't even know what a pyramid scheme looks like. How does that even work?
You hire a guy that hires a guy that hires a guy to do the stuff that the guy you hired does.
Is that like Fiverr?
Organization.
Is that how Fiverr works? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
maybe maybe there's a website called Tenor, and then they hire the Fiverr guys. That'd be funny.
30 Fiverr, and it just goes down from there.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah. I'm about to head off, but yes.
Yeah. So you first started with like self-help books and really awesome motivation to help people. And I remember hearing you say like, like I wrote this and no one listened. So I decided I would make everyone rich and they'd be hanging on your every word. And that's exactly what happened. You created like the most Mensa solution, because I do a lot of coaching for 20 years and it's like so smart how you did it. But now my question is, now that you're here, you literally have thousands of people all over the world hanging on your every word. And we've all formed like Voltron as HEXicans. What would you like to see for all your HEXican community? Like, what would you like to see happen?
I want to see you guys do more outbound messaging. I want to see more stickers all over the world with hex.com, and we also have the world's largest free airdrop. Like, it solves the blowing up the environment problem that Bitcoin and Ethereum are currently doing. Like, we've got so much good stuff, but the easy one that exists that people can on-ramp to, the easiest because it exists, hex.com, 39% APY or 38 or whatever. You have to look it up. I mean, if you're rounding, you can put 40, but I think 38 is just dandy. Hex.com, 38% APY. And you could put the logo if you want. Logo looks awesome, but you don't have to. The unique benefit statement and the .com, vital, important. Actual awesome HEXican logo, optional. And I also think that there's a whole industry of guys out there that charge to teach people how to do stuff and get lots of users, and then they get users that they wouldn't have got had they gave away the info for free. So I think there's a space for penetrating these. People will only care if they pay for the info, people, So I think there's a lot of opportunity in the educational space as well. It's really all about outbound messaging, man. We have the best, okay, I'm going to say this, but it might not be totally accurate, but I'm going to say it anyway because I feel like saying it. I think Hex is the best product in the world. I absolutely love it. Amazing, wonderful, works flawlessly. I absolutely love Hex. I love it. And I think so many other people would feel the same way if they got to experience it. But it's being hidden from them by scumbags that are jacking them for their money and ruining their lives. The exchanges that people lose all their life savings on, either due to rug pulls or margin trading, hiding it. The market cap ranking sites where everyone learns about the next thing to get rug pulled on and go to zero, hiding it. Influencers, hiding it, etc. Like, everybody's hiding the thing that could save so many people's lives. And so, like, outbound messaging, I think, is the best, the absolute best. Direct mail, in person, door to door, whatever. People have to hear about it. And so
we already did that. Do you have another tip?
A lot of people say that they did a thing, but they don't actually do the thing.
I put even stickers on your car. I went door to door in America. I made conferences,
but they didn't have the .com on them, did they? They might have. I think they did, but they didn't have the APY on them.
Well, it was the first hex sticker I ever made. So they evolve, yes, and they get better. And I asked questions.
But I liked it.
For me, it was like the first one I created.
I understand. But you got to understand, look, making them and deploying them properly are totally different things, right?
Yes, I figured that out.
So, like, I it's where are they getting stuck, you know? And then I think interviews are a great spot. I mean, a lot of people that have spoken here to me say that they heard about me on an interview. And so I think other HEXicans could interview well elsewhere. And the great part about doing interviews is a whole new audience that's not yours. John McAfee used to do this really well. He would do interviews with like everybody, and he had a lot of followers, you know. So I mean, telling you to go into audiences you don't already have and use unique benefit statements, there's not really any other magic. Like that's what I'm doing, you know.
I'm going to start doing interviews on my channel and then pumping the pulse chain to them at key opportune moments. And if we all started doing that, what about comparison videos? We talk about the best coins and we
like
name yours.
Anything to get into the other audience's heads. So, you know, if I smack talk somebody and they fight back, I win. Because now I've got new viewers that I wouldn't have otherwise had. And so clout chasing and drama and all that stuff, it's what works for us because it's not banned yet. Straight up marketing's banned. Wow. That's funny. So now we're in the drama business because we can't just advertise. It's so disgusting. The world is so unfair. It's crazy. But hey, you know what?
So how about you create more drama?
Well, I think that the world's largest free airdrop is just going to be so sick. But like, I mean, I am. Like, did you hear my last Twitter space? I savaged this dude so hard.
Oh, that guy was
he fucking tapped out. He was like, I'm leaving. I'm like, you're a coward, dude.
You got 1,800 new followers from that. Funny and Jim got 600, and Tone Bay's got 50 new followers.
Yep. That's beautiful metrics. And here's what's funny. This guy, the Swan Bitcoin guy, he said, I'm not going to come on the show, and no one else should come on the show because it just promotes a bunch of crap. And then it made me make a tweet. It's so funny. The Bitcoin guys that have no followers are afraid of talking to anyone else because they're giving them a platform. And so they silence themselves into obscurity. And so I went on there and did what this idiot wouldn't do because he's an idiot. And I got 1,800 new followers. And he got 0 because he thought he was cool and thought being silent and not talking to people was how you save them. That's not how you save people. Well, it's not how I do it.
Tone Bay should be silent more, honestly.
I agree with that. That would be a better world. We would be in a better world then. So like, yeah, I got 18. And so people were like, I went to a community outside my normal one, and it gave me 1,800 new users, and I'm only sitting on 250,000. So like 1,800 at 250,000, it's like basically a 1% bump. So I got a 1% bump in my users by going on a show that other people were too stupid to go on, you know? And like, and then basically other people ended up on there because they saw that I was killing it and they wanted to clout chase me, basically, you know? I like when I'm beating people in debates so badly, but then I even realize the savaging they're getting. Like this dude was like, tell me about the Howey test. And then I like expand past Howey into like administrative rulings and like family likeness tests. And I'm just like way beyond Howey, but his brain doesn't understand that. Like he doesn't understand that there's extra non-Howey things. His little mini brain thinks, and he's a smart dude, but just like not smart enough. Like he's like, I know so much more about this stuff than these guys that they don't understand how little they know. And you're just like, or they keep saying like, you keep comparing it to Bitcoin. And you're like, yes, because it is like the same thing with a proof of work change.
I've heard so many of them argue with you. And I feel like the thing that they can't get is the inflation. They don't understand how it's paid out, and they don't understand that here's but what I want to see is what they do with PulseChain and PulseX, because they're deflationary.
Exactly.
Does the argument just die?
Exactly.
I mean, I want to see what they say then. Yeah, it's going to be hilarious.
It's like, oh, you don't like inflation? Well, these deflate. So now what? What utility do they have? Oh, the same utility of all the other bags that you hold and love. So, and I think there's a reason that there's like 50% more people in the PulseChain room than the Hex room. I just think it's so much easier to understand,
Inflation's the bad word right now. So,
well, yeah, but if you say deflation, it's also a bad word. Like they don't like that one either. So any of the lations is no good. Deflation, inflation, nobody likes them. I'll work on. I'll try and find a better like marketing language for the deflationary. Becomes more rare. I think that's a good way to say it. It becomes more rare over time. The supply only goes down.
It becomes more rare automatically.
Compound interest is something that people they don't necessarily know the math behind it, but they know it's good.
They know it's good. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think
the phrase "making gains on your gains" is pretty awesome too. Like, I would love to circle back through. I wonder how the work I did on like the scam page worked out. Because there's like rebuttals for everything on there, right? Like people would say it's not liquid. You're like, the best time to buy Bitcoin was when it was not liquid. The ownership centralized. The best time to buy Bitcoin was the ownership centralized. It has no use case. It's more secure than Bitcoin. Do you consider security a use case? You're just like, I thought those rebuttals were so good for like all of the arguments, and they must have worked, I guess, because I mean, what are the arguments that we hear now? I don't even. What is there?
You need new buyers.
Yeah.
That's the new one. You need new buyers, right? Like, what else has that property? Every single thing. Every single possible thing needs that. McDonald's needs that.
Well,
people have to keep buying.
But
if they stop buying, McDonald's goes to zero. Yep, that's right.
With anything else, you're not competing with the people who want to maintain their T-share position. You're not competing with the people who want their share of the future compound interest. That T-share rate going up, and some HEXicans choosing to rebuy their T-shares, even though they get more expensive almost every day. That is part of the magic.
I think that like rotating into T-shares is something I always wanted to do, but I never actually successfully did. Like T-shares is the whole thing, man. Like it's so good. It's so good. At one point I'd like to kind of try and rotate into it. I think you guys are doing a way better job with the T-share angle than I am. Because they're wonderful. Like they're such a fabulous thing. Hey guys, we have a price chart that only goes up and to the right forever in Hex terms. T-shares only go up, period. Never down, up only. So like T-shares in Hex price, lovely.
The thought behind inviting you on my channel was, if you do interviews, you get more new audiences. That's great. You get 1,800 followers, but that's only 1%. But like, I really enjoy
only 1% for less than a day's work, bro. That's a lot.
Awesome. Hear me out. My suggestion, like the old live stream, is you sitting where you sit and reading chat and just interacting. And if you do a interview, it's more like you explaining the people, but you are very, very good at explaining. So, and you already did like a lot of explaining, like HEXicans, like you say yourself, they know a lot. So if we take more time to stay inbound, but we kind of need to do it with you because you know it best. So
are you saying for me to educate the educators? I'm missing the point.
No, I say spend the time brainstorming like we do now. We're thinking together.
Right.
How can we get more? How can we find new words? How can we get around? Like we do all this.
I would rather fix the text on the site. Like there's certain things that could be better.
You will never do it yourself.
Like
how? There's no time. Just like we do postcards, we do road tours, we do everything that you suggest we should do, because we have such a powerful community that you managed to make millionaires.
I like it.
So it's more like we have the strongest community ever. I've been in a lot of communities through gaming and stuff. So but and we have a lot of ideas. So maybe take 2 months and circle around all the Hex streamers. Visit your community and try to find new ideas. And you can't find new ideas by yourself. I'm sorry.
I don't think we need new ideas. I think we have the right ideas already. I think our ideas are awesome.
But no, the new technology is always better.
But there's no new technology. Ideas. You've got the internet where you look at a screen. You've got billboards where you look at a screen, and you've got people knocking on your door, and you've got people calling you, and you've got email and text, and that's it.
Yes,
it ain't no different.
So you're telling me if you would talk, like, let's say only 1 week, how many Hex streams do we have? Like the big ones, 20, 30, 50, that's a lot.
Sure.
Let's say you take 2 months and once or twice a week, you go on a channel, there's like you and 8 other people.
I think you'd learn more from the competitors than from me. I think you'd do better copying ideas from the guys that have a shitload more followers than I do than taking my ideas in that arena.
Yes,
my thumbnail game sucks. My
that doesn't matter.
The stuff I'm writing, my like icon emojis and my description sucks. Now my headlines suck on purpose because I don't feel like getting banned again, and I'm hoping that makes a difference to have bad headlines.
But like we are in a bubble, and I myself
I'm not in a bubble.
Catch up. Okay, I am.
I'm the guy talking to NFC guys
on anything, but we need to have one place where we can connect all the dots, and we try to do that ourselves, by like building larger structures. But in the end,
I just don't think I'm as valuable for this particular brainstorming as you think I am. I think you guys are doing a very good job on this stuff.
Look, you got to look where we came from, right? In the early days, I was talking to Motley about it today. I mean, look at the 555 tour. In every major city, there's HEXicans galore. You got HEXican stickers just in the random. You got HEXican billboards. I mean, come on, guys! Like the message speaks for itself. We've come so far. At some point, you got to say, "Hey,
you want to know where Bitcoin was?
We just need to do more."
It was nowhere.
Richard, you've been on fire on the Twitter Space talks too, though. Some of the other outreach, I know those have been real popular.
Feed me better interviews, homies. I have no public relations agent. It's you guys.
I want to echo that as well. There's tens of thousands of people that watch every word that Richard says, and you heard him say it just now. If you can line up an amazing interview for Richard,
I will home run it. Give me good interviews. I will do the best job possible.
So while you're here and we're all chatting, my understanding from my channel, I kind of have the Crayola Crayon channel, where a lot of new users, a lot of fresh onboards are on my channel. And I've come to really understand the simplicity. I think if I were to boil it down to one sentence, I tell people, how would you have liked to got in on Ethereum day one? And that's kind of, in my opinion, that's one of the best onboarding questions, because there's T-shares are high level stuff. There's levels to the game. And a new user, if they can actually just hear, oh my God,
I agree with what he's saying, but darn it just doesn't exist yet. So they can't on-ramp, But yes, like as soon as they can on-ramp, that sounds awesome. Guys, I'm going to sleep.
You've been really generous with your time. I want to thank you so much for
man.
coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Richard.
Nice seeing you.
Have a great time, everybody. I wish you all the maddest of gains.
Much love, bro.
Take care.
Well, I want to thank everybody for participating in this online conference, the first annual PulseConference.online. I think it's been a huge success. Everybody watching at home, thank you so much. hit the like and subscribe button. There's one more day to sign up for my free Chain Analysis 101 course, where we're looking into the things like who owns all the hex, what is attributed to the origin address, what is chain analysis, how can it help you? So for one more day, you can learn more by going to the website pls.academy. And I guess we're going to do one more giveaway with the hex watches there that'll be offline. But if we can just go around the room and have everybody say where people can find you, then we'll be able to wrap up this successful 3-night conference.
Ooh.
Craig?
I'll go first since I muted myself last night doing this. Craig Wadding, all one word, on Twitter. And then Gen Hex channel, I can drop the link in the chat. We're closing in on 1K subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please help us out. Go over there and hook us up with a sub. But otherwise, thanks for having me, Maddie. I really appreciate being on here, getting a chance to meet Richard too.
Absolutely. Thanks for everything you're doing for the community. And I liked your comment about people streaming about things other than Hex and then tying Hex back in. I think that's a way that our community can expand and something that's really powerful. Now,
like
StickerGuy.
Like you said, you want to do your part. People that want to do their part, but they don't know TA or other things. Stream a channel about whatever you're passionate about, and just like I said, bring the Hex with you. Maybe put behind you on your green screen, like Richard said, the APY, and maybe just hex.com, and at least you're doing what you enjoy, and you're putting more eyeballs on it, right?
Absolutely. Now, StickerGuy, we heard that Richard, he's not willing to always stream with people who haven't built up a sizable audience yet. But hey, here's an idea. There's this new tool called hexsearch.io. And I bet you could be the first person to do an interview with all the videos that Richard has ever made in the past. You could ask a question like, what's good marketing? Type it into Hex Search, play the video of RH telling you what good marketing is, and then be like, oh, yeah, thanks for explaining that.
Interesting idea. I'll keep it in mind.
I want to shout you out because you've been running this backstage here, and this conference wouldn't have been possible without you. So
thank you
so much.
Thank you, StickerGuy.
It's my honor. It's my honor. I want to pump my bags, boys. So let's go.
Awesome.
Pamp it, StickerGuy. Pamp it.
And people can follow you at StickerGuyWin on Twitter and YouTube and Telegram.
Yes, it is the same. And if you're a YouTuber and if Richard don't want to come, I can make him come. I don't know how many followers I need. Maybe somebody knows a dev who can program something that creates new Google accounts that they can follow me. If anybody wants to come, please message me on Twitter. I would love to make more content, but for me it's very hard to do it on my own. I work better if I have good company, and I feel like yes, please, if you're a streamer, if you're a HEXican, if you are not a streamer, please, I'd like to do more content. I'd like to do more brain stuff with or without Richard. I mean, now he's subscribed to my channel, so if you come on my channel, it's more likely that you will see what we say. Anyways, thanks for everything.
And I've never seen anything live like that, where somebody was convincing a billionaire to finally start deploying their capital quite like you just did. So that's one for the history books. Let's go to you next.
Yeah, it is amazing that he doesn't have a whole team helping him with that stuff. He's just flexing out it alone. So it would be cool to see that. And if you want to find me, I have some fire content up on the backlogs, and I'm about to have a lot more. And after this conversation, I've decided I'm definitely going to start doing some interviews. And I have a lot of skill sets to do some predominant interviews. And I'm going to point everyone back to Pulse and to Hex. So I recommend all channels do that. And I also want to just throw it out. Let's get stickers and take pictures of them, because we're in I have fans in 60 countries, just my channel, 60 countries. So if every one of my subscribers took a picture of a Pulse or a Hex sticker and tagged it on Twitter, that would be awesome. And maybe, you know, Richard or Hexologist or someone high up in the community could pick their favorite one once a week or once a month. We would constantly be creating content of Hex and PulseChain stickers out being hashtagged into the Twitter. That would be cool. And
actually, so sorry to interrupt. We have a lot of designs. I went through America, and every HEXican I met, I gave at least 1 or 2 stickers. The problem is that people are not putting them up.
We'll put them up and take a picture.
Buy the stickers and put them up and take a picture. Yes, but taking pictures is not always possible. But guys, you need to put the stickers on so people see them.
We should make a game out of it. You know,
let's make a game.
Does that.
Yeah. I'll start. I'll take some killer pictures and send them in and start hashtagging them. And every hashtag builds Richard's heart. That's how we got him trending. So if we have a game out of this, it could be a really cool tool to get him blown up more, which will help us.
Yeah, hit me up, tag me.
Okay. And if you want to find my stuff, you can reach me on YouTube at My Life is Awesome. And I'm also on Twitter at LitGains, LIT_GAINS. And I'm the first PulseChain channel, and I love all y'all. I got so much love for this community, so much love for this conference, and I'm really proud to be a HEXican.
Thank you.
What's up, guys? You can find me at 4tendies on Twitter. Also, hexmerch.com for your Pulse Hex and Pulse Hex gear. It's one of the best ways to shill. I've had so many icebreakers where someone says, "Hey, with the Pulse Hex logo," they say, "Is that a porn site?" And I'm like, "No, it's a cryptocurrency." But yeah, it's a great way to shill. And then if you want to support, also on Twitter at PulseXBot, it's also a really, really great tool for onboarding people, getting people interested in the PulseX and PulseChain ecosystem. Every day at 000 UTC, it tweets out the buy and burn. We're up to 55 billion coins, which is at the base sacrifice rate. That's over $5 million of automatically bought and burned coins, guys. We get a 10x, that's $50 million. Nothing ever has been done like this in cryptocurrency. So go follow that, support it, retweet the tweets every day.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie, for putting on the conference. You rock, man. It's been a great one. I've been loving the last couple of days and I really appreciate it. Hope you get all the thanks and appreciation, gratitude from everyone for that. For sure. Yeah, I'm Max, RH Maximalist, just the way it sounds on Twitter. I have a channel, RH Max, on YouTube. Please subscribe if you want to get some content from me. I've been doing a lot of streams. StickerGuy, DM me if you want to do a stream, by the way. If you're looking for a streamer to do, happy to stream with you, man. You put in a lot of work for the community, and we can talk stickers, we can talk everything else. Yeah, appreciate the whole panel. You all rock. We're really doing some good stuff for the community, and let's keep at it. This is gonna be an exciting year, and then for years to come. We're in this for a while. 5555.
Let's go.
You know, the community is the most inspiring thing of all, even if it is the tech that impresses us the most as well. And so I just want to say, everybody who's out there, whether I was able to include you in the conference or not, just because, you know, I have limited time and everything. There are so many people who deserved, you know, to be on stage and everything. I'm very grateful to all who make Hex and PulseChain content. Our community is, you know, second to none. And so thank you all for being here. We'll do this again and try to make it bigger next time. But go to hexstreamers.com is one way you can discover new people who, you know, are making content. And I think there's something like 200 YouTubers that are in the Hex and PulseChain and PulseX ecosystem now. So I think we're really lucky.
Also, the PulseTube.com is another new one that's coming out. It's indexing the PulseTube.com. Awesome. Great, folks.
So everybody get out there, put stickers on everything, onboard new people, outbound messaging. Seriously now, I know that there are HEXicans out there who have access to famous people who you know, you can get an interview set up with Richard. You could message myself, the hexologist, anybody else who, you know, can find ways to get messages up the chain and everything. I would strongly encourage that. I've already seen some evidence that HEXicans are super well connected, and that's a resource that we're not fully utilizing. Once we're all, you know, using all of our resources in this decentralized organization that we have here, I think it'll be even better. So the PulseChain, it's legendary because it's fee burning, it's deflationary, it's saving the environment, and it's the largest airdrop in history. There will be millions of people who will fight along our side to have freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and really to create the next financial technologies that can help everybody make the world a better place. You know, it's only possible because there's free money coming for everybody, and people love free money. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in. This has been PulseConference.online. Hit the like and subscribe button and stake wisely, my friends. Peace out.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Good
Maddie.
night.